Chapter 1168. One saber of only me, instant eternal. 1,000 mysterious phenomena, 10,000 lights, this moment of glory, the mountains and rivers like a painting. In the next breath, Xiaoqian executed his strongest profound martial technique, instant of glory. Immediately, the mysterious phenomena of all sorts of martial techniques burst out with this saber strike. Peach blossoms drifted for 50 kilometers around, flowers hung high in the sky on a summer day, leaves fell in the autumn wind, a fiery bright moon soared into the sky, and many blue dragons flew everywhere, wagging their tails. All sorts of mysterious phenomena appeared in an instant, forming a glorious painting that froze the space. Jin Liangqi and the other three in the painting seemed to be locked in place, unable to move or even blink. Xie. Xiaoqian sheathed his saber, and the glorious painting immediately shattered like glass. Xie. Jin Liangqi and the other three fell to the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Horror filled their eyes. In that instant, they suffered 3 heavy blows. The painting froze, and the various mysterious phenomena baptized them. This was not the most fatal blow. Given their cultivation as consummation blue-robed emperors, this kind of damage was not enough to deal any serious damage. The most horrifying thing was the second blow. When the painting shattered, it felt like space had shattered. Although this was far from true space shattering, the principle was roughly the same. The moment the painting shattered, they felt like their bodies were about to be torn into all sorts of shreds. Although his tough physical body was still intact, his internal organs had been torn apart, leaving horrifying cracks. The third layer was the damage caused by the backlash of their own martial skills being interrupted. With these 3 severe injuries, they had completely lost their combat prowess. Even if a martial monarch came, they would just be meat on the chopping block. "You're on your own," Xiaoqian said indifferently as he looked coldly at the 4 on the ground like stray dogs. Then, he let go of Yu Bingyun. Then, he soared into the air, preparing to leave this place. Soon, Bing Xuejian and Fei Lingyi would receive the news. He needed to leave Blackwater Island quickly. Yu Bingyun, who followed closely behind, felt dazed, like she was in a dream. There had never been a bladesman that Xiaoqian admired from the bottom of her heart. His tyrannical and magnificent saber techniques, his straightforward style, his cold as ice, but he did not become addicted to killing. His heart had never changed. Jin Liangqi and the others remained silent for a long time. As they watched Xiaoqian and Yu Bingyun leave, their emotions became extremely complicated. This youth will definitely leave his name in history, becoming a giant bladesman of his generation. How terrifying. He actually didn't kill us. He probably didn't even look at us and didn't see us old fellows as a threat. Jin Liangqi laughed self-mockingly. He also felt that the experience just now was like a dream. However, it was a nightmare. If he had the chance, he definitely wouldn't want to experience it again. The Blood Sword Sovereign's residence was already a complete mess. It had completely collapsed. Fortunately, the various restrictions were no longer there. Xiaoqian used brute force to open up a hole and break out of the ground. After taking a deep breath of the fresh air that he had not breathed in for a long time, Xiaoqian waved his hand and summoned out his Flood Dragon War Chariot. Yu Bingyun exclaimed in shock, "Flood Dragon War Chariot? Isn't this the war chariot of the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace's Ling Xiaofan?" Xiaoqian smiled and said, "Get on, then. It is surnamed Xiao now." Yu Bingyun smiled. Clearly, she had asked a pointless question. For some reason, this Flood Dragon War Chariot ended up in Xiaoqian's hands. The 4 flood dragons did their best to pull the war chariot. Soon, they tore through the dark clouds in the sky, heading forward quickly. Everything was dark under the dark clouds, not seeing sunlight all year round. However, the dark clouds shone with golden light. The sea of clouds glowed like an immortal realm. "Where are you going?" "I'll make a trip to Dark City first before heading to the Human Demon Sea," Xiaoqian said. Xiaochen wanted to meet Ba Tu in Dark City, to see if he could find that corpse and perfect his dragon-seeking art further. After that, he wanted to rush to the Human-Demon Sea, to the place that Ao Jiao said hid the Thunder King's treasures. Then, he would take the opportunity to find the Flower of Life. When Yu Bingyun heard about Xiaochen's itinerary, she started laughing softly. This baffled Xiaochen, so he asked, "What are you laughing at? It looks like we will have to travel together for a while. Your itinerary is the same as mine. My final stop on this trip is also the Human-Demon Sea." Yu Bingyun's expression made it impossible to tell if she was lying or if she said this on purpose to travel together with Xiaochen. "Don't find it strange. My main purpose on this trip is experiential training. I told you at the start and did not lie to you. The matter of the Jadeite Mountain Manor was just something I did in passing. Even if I did not make a move, I would have dealt with that matter perfectly." Feeling suspicious, Xiaochen asked, "What do you mean? Could it be that there is more to Fei Lingyi's attempt to advance the heavenly cloud sword into a transcendent divine weapon? I will not tell you more about the inside story. It is not something important. Right now, I just want to sleep comfortably. You don't mind driving the carriage alone, right?" Yu Bingyun smiled gently. Without giving Xiaochen a chance to reply, she entered the war chariot and pulled the curtains up. Then, she headed for the comfortable bed and lay down alone. Xiaochen smiled bitterly, unable to say anything. He could not possibly go in and disturb her when she was sleeping. Bathed in the golden sunlight, the flood dragon war chariot sped through the cloud sea at lightning speed. At this moment, on Blackwater Island, Fei Lingyi and Bing Shuajian, who had received the news, rushed over. However, they only saw Jin Liangqi and the other three recovering from their injuries. They immediately trembled in anger. They wished that they could rush over to Xiaochen and tear him to shreds. The storm of the life and death art came to an end. However, the story of the white-robed bladesman on Blackwater Island spread for a long time. He snatched the life and death art from the jaws of two half-step Emperor Wu, snatching the life and death art. However, the one who did all this was only a great perfection blue-robed emperor. Later, when Xiaochen's identity spread, everyone was even more shocked. Unexpectedly, such a bladesman was actually a descendant of the famous Qing Emperor, the Blue Dragon King appointed by the Bushan Palace. After leaving Blackwater Island, Xiaochen put away the flood dragon war chariot and walked on the vast sea. He started to use the dragon-seeking art to search for Holy Spirit veins in the Black Sea, which was the most resource-rich. Xiaochen's luck was pretty good, or rather, the Black Sea was rather rich in resources. In the process of rushing to the Black Sea, Xiaochen discovered several hidden Holy Spirit veins. However, Jiang Tian's words rang in his ears. Xiaochen could not casually touch the things underground. If he did not do it well, he might attract a ferocious evil dragon and bury himself at the bottom of the sea. Hence, Xiaochen was extremely careful when he made his move. He only made his move after he was 100% sure that it was an auspicious land. He gave up on most of the discoveries and only took 4 Holy Spirit veins. Even so, Xiaochen's actions flabbergasted Yu Bingyun, who was traveling with him. The Lunar Palace had also hired extremely skilled geomasters, so Yu Bingyun had some understanding of this trade. Xiaochen's dragon-seeking art surpassed that of the geomasters hired by the Lunar Palace. In fact, some of his methods for subduing dragons were even more profound. The dragon-fixing needle and the dragon-revealing mirror allowed him to subdue Holy Spirit veins alone. Just this point alone surpassed those geomasters. In the future, when I manage the Lunar Palace, I will definitely get you to help me search for spirit veins, Yu Bingyun said seriously. Yu Bingyun asked seriously after Xiaochen stepped into the Black Sea and stopped searching for spirit veins. Xiaochen smiled and said, "Sure. However, the prerequisite is that I can live to that day. Of course, the price for me to make a move will be expensive." Yu Bingyun joked, "The bona fide holy daughter is asking you to search for dragons and fix veins, yet she is putting on such airs. You should be saying that I am extremely willing. As long as the holy daughter says it, anything is negotiable." Right, I am extremely willing. As long as the holy daughter says it, anything is negotiable. Parrot words, there is no sincerity at all. However, I will remember what you said. I will definitely look for you in the future. During this period of interaction, the two had gotten much closer. Yu Bingyun had helped Xiaoqin a lot in subduing dragons. There was also the comprehension of the life and death art. Yu Bingyun was not stingy in sharing her understanding with Xiaoqin, helping him quickly understand this profound secret manual. As the two chatted and laughed, they did not slow down at all, rushing towards Black City. As the two went deeper into the Black Sea, they could clearly feel how extraordinary this place was. Consummation blue-robed Emperor Xiaoqin saw one or two half-step Emperor Wu Xiaoqin. Even strong existences on the level of Emperor Wu Xiaoqin occasionally flashed by, coming and going in a hurry. As the core of the entire Black Sea, the Black Sea's atmosphere of experts was clearly much stronger than Blackwater cities. The two's destination, Dark City, was the core of the core. Many strong blue-robed emperors gathered there. Most of the outstanding youths of the Black Sea were in this city. Half a day later, the two arrived at Dark Island, which was several times vaster than Dark City. As they stood at the edge of the island, they could see the majestic and tyrannical silhouette of Dark City. According to Yu Bingyun, this was an ancient holy city that could rival Bright Moon City. Xiaoqin was filled with anticipation, hoping that it would bring him some unexpected surprises. Quickening their pace, Xiaoqin and Yu Bingyun rushed towards the city. The city walls were like a black dragon coiled on the ground. The black bricks looked like dragon scales, giving off a metallic feel and a strong might. When the two arrived at the city gates, they lined up obediently, waiting to enter the city. Among the cultivators in line, Xiaoqin discovered several consummation blue-robed emperors. There was even a half-step Emperor Wu Xiaoqin. This was somewhat flabbergasting. Before the might of Dark City, even a half-step Emperor Wu did not dare to fly in. Whoosh! 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 However, just at this moment, above the heads of the crowd, there were two strong figures flying fearlessly into the city, attracting the attention of the crowd. Where did these youths come from? How come they even dare to barge into Dark City? Someone exclaimed in shock when he discovered that the city guards did not make a move on these people, tacitly acknowledging their actions. Ha! This must be your first time coming to Dark City, right? These are the famous outstanding talents of Dark City. They are either the descendants of great bandits or absolute outstanding talents, incredibly strong. They have the outstanding talent token issued by the city lord's residence, allowing them to enter and leave the city at will. Chapter 1169. However, Xiaoqin, who was in the queue, appeared somewhat distracted. It was like he could not hear anything. The instant the figure in front flashed by, Xiaoqin had clearly seen the appearance of that person. This brought back a distant memory. After so many years, he had not expected to see this old friend in Dark City. What's wrong? Yu Bingyun, who was at the side, could not help asking when she saw Xiaoqin in a rare daze. She looked at the two figures in the sky, who had already left, not understanding what was going on. Xiaoqin withdrew his gaze and said indifferently, "It's nothing. I just saw an old friend from the Sky Dome realm." Those two earlier were Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian. Zhao Feng's grandfather, Zhao Linglong, was a veteran sovereign martial emperor, ranked second among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Sima Lingxian has a significant background as well. His adoptive father, Zong Buxiong, became a sovereign martial emperor after coming out of the road that buried emperors and successfully killed his way into the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Yu Bingyun knew more about the Black Sea than Xiaoqin did. She recognized the two people who just passed by. When Xiaoqin heard Zong Buxiong's name, he felt excited. Wasn't this Zong Buxiong the middle-aged greater heavenly martial emperor who gave him a message in Despair City? Back then, Xiaoqin had found it strange that Zong Buxiong would send him a voice projection for no reason at all. Now that Yu Bingyun said that Zong Buxiong's adoptive son was Sima Lingxian, Xiaoqin somewhat understood what was going on. If Xiaoqin guessed right, this Zhong Buxiong should know about the grudge between Xiao Chen and Sima Lingxian. Zhong Buxiong probably sent Xiao Chen a voice projection because he did not want Xiao Chen to die at the hands of others, giving his adoptive son a chance to take revenge personally. The past truly made one sigh with emotion. Every time one thought of the passionate era of the Sky Dome realm, one's blood would race. Xiao Chen still remembered how many outstanding talents of the Sky Dome realm fought in Dragon Sealing City, fighting for the right to enter the Kunlun realm. However, most of the outstanding talents that truly entered the Kunlun realm were buried in this great realm filled with geniuses. Their names were unknown, and they were nowhere to be seen. However, seeing Sima Lingxian this time far surpassed Xiao Chen's expectations. In that instant, Xiao Chen sensed that Sima Lingxuan's cultivation had actually reached the peak of the great perfection blue-robed emperor. Furthermore, Xiao Chen had taken a sovereign martial emperor as his adoptive father. Everything was like a new game of Go. There were always some unexpected things. Fortunately, as long as the blue-robed emperor had sufficient resources and great talent, he would be able to reach the peak of mastery within a short period of time. If he had become a great perfection blue-robed emperor, only then would Xiao Chen be truly vigilant. Now, he only needed to pay a little more attention. Among the younger generation of the Black Sea, where can this Sima Lingxian rank? Xiao Chen asked curiously. This name, which he had long forgotten, once again attracted his attention. Yu Bingyun thought for a while before saying, "How should I put it?" He rose up very quickly. In just 5 or 6 years, with Zhong Buxiong's full support, he defeated many outstanding talents of the Black Sea. Now, he is in the limelight and is known as the strongest of the Black Sea's younger generation. However, this first rank is a little vague. This is because the strongest of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, the Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun, has not appeared in the past few years. Furthermore, Huang Yun was already publicly acknowledged as the strongest 10 years ago. Without defeating Huang Yun, Sima Lingxian would not be able to truly become the strongest. There is also Xiao Feng. 2 years ago, Sima Lingxian only lost to Xiao Feng by half a move. In a true life-and-death battle, Xiao Feng only had a 50-50 chance of winning. However, no matter what, there is no exaggeration in calling Sima Lingxian one of the strongest outstanding talents of the Black Sea's younger generation. After saying that, Yu Bingyun glanced at Xiao Chen and said, "Could he be the old friend you mentioned? Is he a friend or foe? If he is an enemy, it is best not to meet him to avoid trouble." Friend or foe? Sima Lingxuan's father died at Xiao Chen's hands. There was no way to resolve the grudge of killing his father. However, Xiao Chen did not regret killing Sima Hong at all. Some people deserved to be killed, to pay the price for what they had done in the past. As for meeting the other party, Xiao Chen did not fear it at all. He could defeat the other party in the Sky Dome realm. He could do the same here. Why aren't you saying anything? What exactly is your relationship with this Sima Lingxian? You still have not told me. Yu Bingyun was curious about the relationship between the two, which was rare for Xiao Chen to be absent-minded, so she pursued the matter. After Xiao Chen entered Dark City, Yu Bingyun continued to press him. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly and said, "He has a grudge with me for killing his father." Back then, his father relied on his cultivation to sweep through a small sect of mine in the Sky Dome realm. For the sake of protecting me, many of my sect's disciples and elders died at his father's hands. Later on, after my strength increased, I met his father in the Sky Dome realm and killed him. Xiao Chen skipped the details and gave a simple explanation of the grudge between him and Sima Lingxian. When Yu Bingyun heard this, she could not help but be stunned. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen had such a grudge with this Sima Lingxian. No wonder she was distracted when she saw him. Batu's home was very easy to find. Dark City was divided into 13 districts. Each district was governed by a great bandit. In every district, the most iconic building was the place where the bandits lived. The 13 great bandits of the Black Sea represented the strongest combat prowess of the entire Black Sea, the greatest authority, and the most majestic might. They were the uncrowned masters of the Black Sea, the true kings of the underworld. It was very simple to become a great bandit of the Black Sea. One just had to come to Dark City and defeat a great bandit of the Black Sea, chasing him out of the iconic building. Then, one would be the new great bandit of the Black Sea. It was simple and crude, fully displaying the law of the jungle of the Black Sea. While it sounded simple, every great bandit of the Black Sea was at least as strong as Greater Heavenly Emperor Wu. Furthermore, without the strength of a sovereign martial emperor, one would not be confident of defeating any great bandit easily. In the past 1,000 years, aside from Zhong Buxiong, no one else had succeeded. Ba Tu's grandfather was known as the Flame Rock Sovereign. He was ranked 5th among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, a veteran sovereign martial emperor. It was because Ba Tu asked the Flame Rock Sovereign to speak up for Kim Taeho's Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Hence, no one dared to offend him in the Black Sea. As long as the banner of the Green Dragon Chamber of Commerce was hung up, no one would pay attention to the merchant ships of the Black Sea, where pirates roamed. After asking around, the two found out where the Flame Rock Sovereign lived. A castle made of 10,000-year-old flame rocks was in the south of the city. This was where the Flame Rock Sovereign lived. When the two arrived before the fiery red castle and saw that it was made of 10,000-year-old flame rocks, they felt incredibly shocked. Just a small piece of 10,000-year-old flame rock was worth cities. However, the Flame Rock Sovereign used it to build a vast castle. The castle looked like it was eternally engulfed in flames, burning endlessly. When standing in front of the gates, one could feel the Flame Rock Sovereign's unbridled tyranny. The surroundings were heavily guarded. Xiao Qin stood in front of the gates and reported his identity, asking the guards to help pass a message to Ba Tuesday. Xiao Chen and Yu Bingyun both looked extraordinary. Their strength was even more startling. The guards did not dare to be slow, quickly reporting the news. Soon, Ba Tu's carefree laughter came from the gates. He walked over with large strides. When he saw Xiao Chen, he immediately gave Xiao Chen a bear hug. "Brat, you only came now. I have already waited for you for more than a year. Come in first." "Hey, this is..." Xiao Chen, who only cared about talking to Xiao Chen, did not react immediately when he saw Yu Bingyun. After a while, he exclaimed in extreme shock, "Damn! Brother Xiao Chen, you really managed to get the Lunar Palace's holy daughter." Ba Tu's words in front of so many people immediately froze Yu Bingyun's pretty face. This misunderstanding was too big. The misunderstanding was too big. Xiao Chen quickly said, "I think Brother Ba Tu is overreacting." Ba Tu smiled abashedly and quickly apologized. Yu Bingyun ignored him. However, her expression slowly turned warmer, showing no intention of settling scores with him. Come. Since Brother Xiao Chen is here, let's have some fun in Dark City. I'll bring you to the City Lord's residence to apply for an outstanding talent token first. With this outstanding talent token, you can enjoy the privileges that only the older generation Emperor Wu can enjoy. That would be truly satisfying. The City Lord's residence of Dark City was only a faction on the surface. The people there were appointed by the factions represented by the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. Given Ba Tu's status, it would be easy for him to apply for an outstanding talent token. When Xiao Chen was in line outside the city gates, he had heard some things about the outstanding talent token. For example, Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian could fly through the city gates because they had the outstanding talent token. However, Xiao Chen's main reason for coming here was the corpse that Ba Tu's group found on the road that buried emperors. The jade strip on that corpse contained the Paradise Secret Cannon. It was hard to guarantee that there were no other hidden treasures. Xiao Chen was hoping to get lucky. He wanted to go take a look and see if there were any gains. Wait for a while. This time, I actually have a request to make of Brother Ba Tu, Xiao Chen said seriously, rejecting Ba Tu's words. Ba Tu slowly withdrew the smile on his face. He asked gravely, "What is it?" "If I can help, I will definitely do so without hesitation." "Is the corpse that you found on the road that buried emperors still there?" "What did you find on that corpse? Can you tell me a thing or two?" When Batu heard this, he could not help smiling. There was nothing on that corpse except for the spatial ring on its finger. It was also a pile of trash. We suffered a great loss. Could it be that the jade strip we gave you is extraordinary? Since Xiaochen had already decided to come here, he did not intend to hide anything. He nodded and said, "Bring me to see that pile of trash first." Batu laughed loudly, and a look of anticipation appeared in his eyes. Then, he waved his hand and said, "Bring Miss Bingyun around the castle. Remember to treat her well." Batu looked like a boorish fellow. However, he was very meticulous. He knew that it was not convenient for others to hear about this, so he sent Yu Bingyun away without anyone noticing. Yu Bingyun smiled faintly. She did not care much about her interactions with Xiaochen over the past few days. Yu Bingyun already knew that Xiaochen had obtained the inheritance of an ancient dragon seeking secret art. However, Xiaochen had also told her the truth. This dragon seeking secret art was very difficult for people with ordinary comprehension ability to learn. Chapter 1170. The threshold for comprehension ability was too high. Even if an ordinary geomaster obtained it, it would not be of much use. At most, it would broaden their horizons. Xiaochen followed Batu to his private treasure pavilion in the castle. In one of the old rooms, he saw the trash that Batu spoke of. There were broken bells, large lumps of metal, rotten knives, and all sorts of metal balls. There were many of them. At first glance, they were indeed trash. However, in Xiaochen's eyes, they were all dusty treasures, making him somewhat happy. How was this trash? This was a complete dragon subduing platform. However, it had been destroyed and scattered. After repairing and refining some of the parts, he reassembled them. This was a ready-made dragon subduing platform. The bell was the dragon summoning bell. With just a gentle shake, it could automatically summon back the spirit vein that escaped. When dealing with some evil dragons, there was no way to get them to obediently go to the dragon subduing platform. Hence, the dragon summoning bell became a necessity. The rotten knives were the essence of the dragon subduing platform, the dragon head guillotine. There was also the lump of metal. This was the ready-made foundation of the dragon subduing platform. If Xiaochen had to pool his own money to build it, he would need at least 10 years to prepare. However, these things were worthless in the eyes of a cultivator. They were completely useless. Even a regular geomaster would not recognize these things. Even if they recognized them, they would not know how to use them. They had to be used in conjunction with the Paradise Secret Canon. That's all. It is infuriating to talk about it. A group of brothers and I risked our lives to bring back a corpse. Unexpectedly, the ring is filled with a pile of trash. Batu appeared rather depressed when he mentioned this matter. Xiaochen reluctantly put down the dragon summoning bell. Then, he said, "These are not trash. They are all treasures." Seeing that there were no outsiders present, Xiaochen told Batu about the Paradise Secret Canon and the true value of this pile of trash. "I can leave a copy of the Paradise Secret Canon for Brother Batu's day. As for these dragon subduing platform parts, I hope that Brother Batu will do me a favor. Name a price, and I'll buy them." After Batu heard that, his expression changed. He said, "You are looking down on this brother. Without you making a move, I, Batu, and my friends would have died in the heavenly starry ocean long ago. Furthermore, at that time, Brother Xiaochen could have made a move to silence us and snatch this corpse away. Don't say anything. You can just take these things as trash." Batu's straightforwardness made Xiaochen feel somewhat embarrassed. Not only did Batu not want the Paradise Secret Canon's copy, but he even gave all the parts of the dragon subduing platform to Xiaochen. After the dragon subduing platform was completed, Xiaochen would no longer need to be afraid of those evil dragons while seeking the dragon acupoints. This dragon subduing platform was extremely important to him. In fact, when he reached the level of Emperor Wu and searched for a royal spirit vein, this dragon subduing platform would be of great help to him. I won't say too many words of gratitude. In the future, if the Flame Rock Sovereign or Brother Batu need any help, I will definitely be there at your beck and call, Xiaoqin said extremely seriously as he accepted the parts of the dragon subduing platform. Batu laughed loudly and said, well said, well said. However, there is indeed a problem that is troubling this brother. What problem? Xiaoqin asked, feeling suspicious as he frowned slightly. Speaking of which, what exactly is your relationship with the Holy Daughter? Don't be in a rush to deny it. If it were someone else, they would definitely fall out with her on the spot. Furthermore, Xiaoqin felt somewhat speechless. He thought that Batu would ask something serious, so he quickly interrupted, don't mention this. Batu raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Alright, I won't mention it. I understand, I understand. The more he tried to explain, the more he made things worse. Xiaoqin smiled helplessly and said, never mind, let's not talk about this anymore. Bring me to get the outstanding talent token, then. I plan to stay in Dark City for a while and complete the dragon subduing platform before leaving. The disassembled dragon subduing platform had existed for too long. Many things needed to be repaired, which was a rather large project. Furthermore, Xiaoqin needed to purchase many divine materials. With the outstanding talent token, he would be able to obtain a considerable discount when purchasing in Dark City. Furthermore, some divine materials could not be purchased through ordinary channels. With the outstanding talent token, it would be easier to access those special channels. Batu patted Xiaoqin's shoulder and smiled. That's easy. Come, I'll bring you to the city lord's residence now. As Xiaoqin strolled around the castle, he could sense the auras of several experts, both in the open and in the dark. There was even a gaze that seemed to belong to a powerhouse on the level of Emperor Wu, watching him from the dark. However, it seemed like that gaze did not have any malicious intent because of Batu's day. Furthermore, it did not pry too much into Xiaoqin. When Xiaoqin arrived at the city lord's residence in the center of Dark City, he relied on Batu's signboard to pass through all sorts of tight security and strong checkpoints. This allowed Xiaoqin to personally experience the strength of being a great pirate of the Black Sea. Along the way, he saw several half-step Emperor Wu experts at the checkpoints, undergoing strict questioning and inspections. When Batu and Xiaoqin arrived at the Zong Affairs office, where the outstanding talent token was processed, they were about to enter. Suddenly, a voice called out to Batu from behind. When Batu heard that, he turned his head back, and his expression changed involuntarily. Damn, this fellow actually came to the Zong Affairs office as well. Xiaoqin's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there would be some problems with the outstanding talent token? Ha! Brother Batu, are you bringing someone to get the outstanding talent token? Behind the Zong Affairs office, a white-robed young man with a jade-like complexion and a sinister aura walked over unhurriedly with a person behind him. Xiaoqin sized up this person. This person's cultivation was unfathomable. Unexpectedly, he was also a peak great perfection blue-robed emperor. Boundless sword intent flashed in this person's eyes. His gaze was so sharp that it could tear through the air. Another peak great perfection quasi-emperor outstanding young talent. Xiaoqin felt shocked in his heart. However, when he thought about it, the Black Sea lacked everything but resources, so he felt somewhat at ease. The 13 great bandits of the Black Sea controlled the greatest benefits of the Black Sea. In terms of resources, they were probably even stronger than some of the Holy Lands. After all, their headquarters were in the Black Sea. The cultivation of the small perfection blue-robed emperor and the great perfection blue-robed emperor happened to rely on the accumulation of resources. Of course, if one's talent was insufficient, no matter how many resources one had, it would be pointless. Being able to use vast resources to raise one's cultivation to peak great perfection blue-robed emperor within a short time was already an incredible feat. This person is called Lu Yun, a descendant of the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea, Ku Yejian. Ku Yejian ranks 6th among the great bandits and is a sovereign martial emperor who uses the sword. This person once suffered greatly at my big brother's hands. Xiaoqin knew that Batu's big brother was the most talented outstanding talent of the Flame Rock Sovereign's bloodline. He was also the Flame Rock Sovereign's legitimate successor, someone who would inherit the title of Flame Rock Sovereign in the future. However, Batu had always been busy with cultivation, rarely appearing when he was in closed-door cultivation. Compared to Batu, he was much more low-profile. That Lu Yun sized up Xiaoqin and said indifferently, "Not bad. With the cultivation of a great perfection blue-robed emperor, you meet the threshold. However, it is hard to say whether you can get an outstanding talent token or not. However, based on Brother Batu's appearance, it seems like you want to go through the back door." This person had an arrogant expression. After saying that, he left with his head held high. Remember to tell your big brother to come out of closed-door cultivation early. The next Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is about to begin. At that time, I will personally defeat him. The person beside Lu Yun turned his head and glanced at Xiaoqin. A faint murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and a fierce electric fire burned in the depths of his eyes. Xiaoqin frowned slightly. Why does this fellow make it seem like he has a grudge against me? If I recall correctly, I have a grudge against him. If I recall correctly, this is the first time Xiaoqin met Lu Yun and Lu Yun. Lu Yun, you sissy. Who said that your uncle is going through the back door? It is just an outstanding talent token. My brother can easily obtain it. What surprised Xiaoqin was that Batu's explosive temper could not endure Lu Yun's aloof temper. Once provoked, Batu would immediately erupt. Lu Yun turned around and did not get angry. He smiled faintly and said, "If you did not go through the back door, you would not have been able to obtain an outstanding talent token. Don't boast and harm your brother. Furthermore, if not for giving face to your big brother, I would have slapped you for what you said earlier." The competition between the descendants of the great bandits was actually so intense. This surprised Xiaoqin, who was at the side, slightly. He felt like he had gotten involved in some grudges. The more Batu spoke, the angrier he became. He cursed, "Damn! Do you dare to bet with me? This brother of mine will definitely obtain an outstanding talent token. Furthermore, his results will be even higher than this person you brought." Lu Yun said coldly, "You are really reckless. Do you know who this person beside me is? He is Xia Yang, the descendant of the legendary Thunder Fire Sovereign. He is someone who can make it into the top 5 of this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting." So, that's the case. When Xiaoqin heard that, he figured out what was going on. It turned out that this fellow was Xia Luo's elder brother. No wonder Xia Yang's face was filled with murderous intent. Xiaoqin had taught Xia Luo's younger brother and the clan elder, Wang Zhen, a lesson at Blackwater Island. Word of that had probably reached this person's ears. Xia Yang smiled faintly and said, "Brother Lu, there is no need to bother with these two clowns. There is no need to lower yourself to their level. Just smile." Lu Yun nodded and said, "That's true. If these words came from your elder brother, Ba Yan, I might be able to take them seriously. However, when they came from you, Ba Tu, I only need to smile." The two echoed each other, causing Batu's complexion to turn red and white. That kind of arrogance and disdain infuriated him. Xiaoqin stepped forward and patted Batu's shoulder. Then, he looked straight at the two and said, "It is just an outstanding talent token. There is no need for the two of you to mock and ridicule me like that. Aren't you being too narrow-minded? You will only make others feel ashamed of you." Lu Yun's gaze turned cold. His eyes became like swords as they pierced towards Xiaoqin. A boundless sword intent burst out from his eyes. Unexpectedly, this fellow's sword soul had reached 50% comprehension, far surpassing that of his peers. Furthermore, Lu Yun's sword intent gained a feeling of spring returning to a withered tree. This made his sword intent even more exuberant, surging boundlessly. If Lu Yun looked at an ordinary person, that person would immediately fall to the ground in fright, trembling and unable to get up. However, Xiaoqin did not fear Lu Yun at all. His saber soul had already reached 60% comprehension, completely suppressing his opponent. The saber soul in Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness moved slightly as he looked straight into Lu Yun's eyes. He did not even take half a step back. Chapter 1171. Saber intent spread out from Xiao Chen's body. It was like one could hear sharp clanging sounds in the air, inspiring the urge to cover their ears. Many people came to the City Affairs Hall to handle the outstanding talent token and other matters. When they saw this scene, they could not help but look over. When they saw that someone dared to clash with Lu Yun's aura, they could not help feeling surprised. Lu Yun was very famous in this vast dark city. He was extremely strong, even able to defeat some consummation blue-robed emperors. What a fellow! To think that you really have some skill. Ba Tu, I accept your bet. Lu Yun said indifferently to Ba Tu as he withdrew his gaze. Anticipation lit up in his eyes. Ba Tu sent a voice projection back, Xiao Chen, are you confident? I did not recognize that Xia Yang at first glance. This fellow is also very famous in Dark City. He is not inferior to the descendants of the great bandits of the Black Sea. His outstanding talent token should have reached its time limit, so he is here to reapply for it. If you are not confident, then I admit defeat. I will ask my uncle to help you apply for an outstanding talent token. Xiao Chen replied calmly. There is no need. Just go ahead and gamble. Bet as much as you want. I will help you win it all in one go. With Xiao Chen's words, Ba Tu immediately calmed down. He smiled and said, Lu Yun, let's make the bet bigger this time. The loser will give the winner 200 essence stones. How about that? 200 essence stones. The moment Ba Tu said that, not only did Lu Yun's expression change slightly, but even the surrounding young cultivators who were watching felt shocked. Essence stones could only be extracted from King's spirit veins. They were essential for Emperor Wu's cultivation. Without advancing to Emperor Wu, there was no way to purchase essence stones through normal channels. They could only obtain them at auctions. These outstanding talents had the backing of the great bandits and lived in the resource-rich Black Sea. Hence, they could rely on their clans to obtain some essence stones every month. However, they only obtained about 20 essence stones every month. They still had to rely on Holy Spirit veins to cultivate. Ba Tu wanted to bet 200 essence stones in one go. It looked like he had been holding back his anger and wanted to make a big bet. Xia Yang's eyes were burning with fighting spirit. Brother Lu, just agree with him. The guy next to him happens to have some conflicts with me. Let's break his spirit here first. Lu Yun secretly sent a voice transmission to ask if he was really confident. He only had 300 origin essence stones on him, and he had saved them up. Don't worry. My thunder fire art has already reached the 10th layer. It is more than enough to defeat him in the test of the outstanding talent token, Xia Yang guaranteed confidently. Lu Yun had always looked down on Ba Tu and did not want to lose in front of him. With Xia Yang's guarantee, he immediately agreed to Ba Tu's request and said loudly, I happen to be lacking origin essence stones. If you want to give them to me, I naturally have no objection. Ba Tu and Lu Yun are at loggerheads. This is going to be a good show. What a big bet. 200 origin essence stones. If I had 200 origin essence stones, my cultivation would increase by 20%. Stop speaking nonsense. Your clan does not have a sovereign martial emperor holding down the fort. Where are you going to get 200 origin essence stones? Even if the elders of your clan found them, they would use them for themselves. Ba Tu and Lu Yun's huge bet immediately attracted the attention of the many youths who came to apply for the outstanding talent token. Aside from the descendants of great bandits who could use their connections to apply for the outstanding talent token, the outstanding talent token was also open to the public. As long as one cleared the checkpoints set by the City Lord's Residence's City Affairs Hall, they would obtain the outstanding talent token as well, allowing one to enjoy many benefits in Black Sea City and a death exemption medallion. With the outstanding talent token, no expert would dare to kill you. At the very least, this was a guarantee in the Black Sea. Aside from this, one could enter many of the peak places in the city unobstructed with the outstanding talent token and enjoy the most expensive treatment. Not just the local outstanding talents of the Black Sea, but several outstanding talents from other sea regions also came to Dark City to apply for the outstanding talent token. Furthermore, in the Kunlun realm, as long as one was not over 50 years old, one could be considered a youth. Hence, the city affairs hall was always filled with people. There were many people who came, but only a few were able to successfully apply for an outstanding talent token. The reason was simple. The checkpoints set by the City Affairs Hall were too difficult. Lu Yun and Xia Yang took the lead and entered the City Affairs Hall. Xiao Chen and Ba Tu followed closely behind. After registering according to the City Affairs Hall's rules, they were led into the testing hall. The vast and majestic testing hall was bustling with people. When Xiao Chen saw this, he found it somewhat strange. Unexpectedly, there were so many people here to apply for the outstanding talent token. A quick count gave at least 100 people, ranging in age from 20 to 50. Some were strong, some were weak, some were strong, and some were of different races. There were humans, fiend race, ghost race, and even some demon mixed blood cultivators. This was a great eye-opener. Dark City truly lived up to its reputation as a gathering city. Just the test for the outstanding talent token could attract so many outstanding talents. These people were all different. However, the pride they exuded was not as wild and unruly as they usually were. They were all very similar. After being immersed in the Black Sea for a long time, one would develop a baleful aura that was very hard to get rid of. However, this baleful aura would not affect the minds of outstanding talents. Instead, it would be used by them to strengthen their auras. Lu Yun's appearance attracted everyone's attention. This descendant of a great bandit was very famous and in the limelight. In comparison, the descendant of a great bandit like Ba Tu attracted much less attention. After all, this dark city was a place where strength reigned supreme, a place where the strong were worshipped. If Ba Tu's eldest brother were here, the situation would be different. Dong! 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 Dense footsteps resounded. Countless people rushed in from outside the City Affairs Hall to watch the excitement. This made the young outstanding talents participating in the outstanding talent token feel strange. Although the outstanding talent tokens test did not prohibit spectators, it was rare for such a bustling scene to appear under normal circumstances. There had to be something strange about this. Indeed, after asking around, the crowd learned about the bet between Ba Tu and Lu Yun. They all showed strange expressions. Who is that white-robed bladesman? To think that he dares to compete with the Thunder Fire Sovereign's descendant. I don't know. I've never seen him before. He looks like he is only a middle-stage great perfection blue-robed emperor. His cultivation is weaker than Xia Yang's. This white-robed bladesman must have a great background. Otherwise, Ba Tu would not be so bold. Ha! That might not be the case. I feel that he is just bluffing. He is just a nameless person. It is hard to say whether he can obtain the outstanding talent token or not. How can he compete with Xia Yang? That's right. He will definitely lose. The crowd discussed the matter. Some of the young outstanding talents participating in the test purposely stopped, wanting to let the two fight one-on-one. The two took up the responsibility and went to the first stage of the City Affairs Hall's test. The test of strength. Xiao Chen was no stranger to this test method. It was the same as the one he used in front of the Heavenly Cauldron Pavilion. The 100-meter-tall stone tablet was connected to an iron man through an exquisite formation on the ground. The difference was that this time, the metal man's chest, throat, forehead, and other areas were marked in red. After the old man beside the stone steel explained it to Xiao Chen, he knew that the testing stone steel here was closer to actual combat. The vital parts of the stone steel were reinforced, making it harder for one's strength to penetrate. Just like martial artists, they would definitely put up extra defenses at their vitals. If one was confident, one could attack the vital parts of the metal man. If one's strength could penetrate it, one could light up more gems on the stone steel. If one's strength was insufficient, then one's result would be extremely low. One would be eliminated in the first stage. Most people would not choose to attack the vital parts. They would just use the normal method to test their strength. The City Affairs Hall elder guarding the first stage said expressionlessly, "The first stage is to test your strength. If you want to obtain the outstanding talent token, you have to light up the 6th row of gems at the very least. Lighting up one gem is 1 point. The highest score for this stage is 10 points. Xiao Chen's expression changed involuntarily. In the previous test at the Heavenly Cauldron Pavilion, the ones who could light up the 6th row of gems were almost all consummation blue-robed emperors. In this place, the minimum requirement to obtain the outstanding talent token was to light up the 6th row of gems. The threshold was extraordinarily high. No wonder Lu Yun said that even a great perfection blue-robed emperor might not be able to obtain the outstanding talent token. As for the subsequent scores, Xiao Chen knew that this test had a total of 3 stages. In the end, the scores would be added up to determine one's ranking among all the outstanding talents taking the test. In this first stage, I will make you fall into despair. Xia Yang was very confident in the test of strength. After the old man finished speaking, he walked over step by step. With every step Xia Yang took, a layer of purple lightning-attributed fire burned on his body. His aura was startling. Sparks even appeared high in the sky in the vast hall. If not for the restrictions in the hall, the lightning would have burst out. Thunder Fire Art. This is a profound cultivation technique created by the legendary martial emperor, the Thunder Fire Sovereign. Its explosive power is extremely ferocious. I wonder which layer Xia Yang has cultivated it to. As long as he reaches the 7th layer, he will be able to defeat that white-robed bladesman for sure. The legendary martial emperor, the Thunder Fire Sovereign, was very famous. Although the Xia clan was no longer as powerful as it was in the past, no one dared to underestimate the might of this Thunder Fire art. Xia Yang took 10 steps. With every step he took, a layer of purple lightning-attributed fire appeared on his body. When he finished taking 10 steps, the crowd exclaimed. Amid the layers of lightning-attributed fire, Xia Yang's aura was extremely strong. He was no weaker than a regular consummation blue-robed emperor's, he might even be stronger. Unexpectedly, he cultivated the Thunder Fire art to the 10th layer. This Xia Yang really hid himself deeply. He will probably shock everyone in this outstanding talent summit meeting. There is no hope. Ba Tu's 200 essence stones are probably gone. After charging up his strength, Xia Yang roared and punched the metal humanoid. The light on the testing steel flickered, and rows of gems lit up rapidly. Soon, all the gems on the 5th row lit up. The first purple gem on the 6th row lit up, followed by the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gems. The 7th, the 8th, the 9th. This caused an uproar. Xia Yang's punch lit up a total of 9 gems on the 6th row. This was a startling result, surpassing most consummation blue-robed emperors. Chapter 1172. Although Xia Yang had used the 10th layer of the Thunder Fire art and stored up energy for a while, no one could deny his results. However, no one could erase his results. All of this was within the rules. The first stage was a test of strength. Lighting up 9 gems and obtaining 9 points was basically the highest score of the first stage. Xia Yang scattered the 10th layer of Thunder Fire on his body. His complexion turned slightly red, and he looked somewhat weak. Clearly, his cultivation of the 10th layer of the Thunder Fire art was not very stable. However, the joy and pride on his face did not diminish at all. He looked at Xiao Chen arrogantly and laughed loudly. In this stage, I lit up 9 gems on the 6th row. How can you compare to me? To most people, to surpass the 9th gem, one would have to erupt with the strength of a half-step Emperor Wu and light up 10 gems. However, this was clearly impossible. Xia Yang obtained 9 points. There was no way Xiao Chen could compete with him. Xia Yang would definitely win the first stage. White-robed bladesman, what do you have to defeat me? Xia Yang lit up 9 purple gems in one go, appearing very spirited. After cultivating the Thunder Fire art to the 10th layer, Xia Yang's goal was not Shao Chen but the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting that would take place in a month. At that time, he would shine brightly. Xia Yang treated Shao Chen before him as an appetizer. At the same time, he would kick his younger brother and vent his anger. At the same time, he would slowly spread his fame. The corner of Lu Yun's mouth curled up slightly when he saw this scene. He said to Ba Tu in an indifferent manner, prepare 200 origin essence stones later. Ha, if you can't take it out, don't blame me for making a fool of you in front of everyone and doing some embarrassing things. Ba Tu's face sank slightly, rage building in his heart. However, when he saw Xia Yang obtain 9 points, he felt a deep sense of helplessness. In reality, Ba Tu did not have 200 essence stones. It was only because he trusted Shao Chen unconditionally that he demanded an exorbitant price. Xia Yang wanted to take revenge on Lu Yun for all the time. He didn't expect that Xia Yang would score 9 points in the first round. If Xia Yang continued to perform well, his total score would probably be able to rank in the top 20 of the overall ranking. Don't be too happy so soon. This is just the first stage. There are still 3 more stages, testing movement techniques, eyesight, and actual combat. There will be plenty of opportunities to overtake them. Ba Tu argued back, but his words seemed to lack confidence. When Lu Yun heard this, he smiled in disdain and said, stubborn duck. Continue holding on. Let's see what else you have to say when we reach the final stage. Everyone's gaze is focused on Shao Chen. They all wanted to see what expression this white-robed bladesman would have when he saw Xia Yang's despairing 90 points. But they were disappointed. The expected dismay and surprise did not appear on Shao Chen's face. His delicate face was still calm. Taking a step forward, Shao Chen used his hand to touch the Iron Man. The places he touched were all the vital parts of the Iron Man, such as its chest, throat, and the space between its eyebrows. Puff! Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. What is he trying to do? Could it be that he overestimated himself and wanted to challenge the Iron Man's vital parts? If one could penetrate the reinforced defenses of the Iron Man's vital parts, one would be able to obtain a very high score. However, if one was not strong enough, one would obtain a score far lower than one's own strength. The risk was very high. Practically no one could obtain a high score by challenging the Iron Man's vital parts. Most of them could not even light up the purple gems. Lu Yun smiled coldly and said, this fellow really wants to win so much that he has gone crazy. Glancing at the stunned Ba Tu, Lu Yun added, indeed, he is someone you brought up. His way of thinking is different. However, he does not know that he is a big joke. Ba Tu could not help retorting, if you can obtain a high score by relying on the vital parts, my brother will definitely be able to do it. Lu Yun smiled conceitedly and said, do you think that everyone is a descendant of Ku Yejin? Even if you called your big brother over, he would not be able to obtain a high score by relying on the vital parts. This is something only a peak swordsman can do. You idiot, you don't know anything. Most of the people present agreed with Lu Yun's words. Unless one was a peak swordsman who could focus their attacks on one point, it would be very difficult to break through the reinforced defenses. Although the attacks of a bladesman were tyrannical, they excelled in chopping and chopping. They could not focus their attacks on one point. In history, there had never been a bladesman who obtained a high score by relying on the vital parts. When everyone saw that Shao Chen wanted to obtain victory by relying on the vital parts, they all shook their heads slightly. Their eyes filled with disdain. This white-robed bladesman overestimated himself. Can I use a saber? Shao Chen stepped back. Now that he was confident, he asked the administrator of the sect affairs hall. That old administrator smiled and said, naturally. If a bladesman does not use a saber, how can he bring out his greatest strength? However, let me give you a piece of advice. In the history of Dark City, there has never been a bladesman who obtained a high score by relying on the vital parts. Xiaochen smiled and said, "There will be one soon." When the old administrator heard that, he could not help but smile faintly. His expression did not change. The arrogance of youth was understandable. The old administrator had seen too much in his life and would no longer make a fuss about nothing. How arrogant! Let's see what kind of joke you will make. Xia Yang could not stand Xiao Chen's indifferent attitude, so he mocked him. Whoosh! Right after Xia Yang spoke, everyone in the hall saw an extremely dazzling saber light flash by. The saber light was too bright, forcing everyone to blink involuntarily. As the saber light flashed, there was also a gust of wind. This wind made everyone's long hair flutter gently. However, in the blink of an eye, Xiao Chen, who was holding nothing in his hands earlier, had already sheathed his saber. Then, he slowly hugged the lunar shadow saber. Did he draw his saber? This saber strike was too fast, so fast that everyone doubted it. It flashed by, they did not see it clearly at all. Naturally, Xiao Chen had drawn his saber. Although not many people saw Xiao Chen draw his saber, there were still some, such as Lu Yun, the old administrator, and Xia Yang, who stood beside Xiao Chen. When Xia Yang saw that the stone steel did not even light up, he could not help laughing loudly. Not bad, your posture is pretty good. Unfortunately, not a single gem lit up. White-robed bladesman, you will probably become the biggest joke of the year in Dark City. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Earlier, Xiao Chen's saber strike was incredibly fast, startling them all. When they heard Xia Yang's words, they realized that it was just a joke. Not a single gem lit up. Although this was somewhat surprising, it was rather normal. Many cultivators who wanted to score points by attacking the vital points had encountered such a situation before. However, Xiao Chen made it seem so mysterious, giving off the air of an expert. In the end, he still ended up with such a result. This was truly a joke. Something's not right. Lu Yun, who originally had a smile on his face, suddenly frowned. He discovered that something was wrong. The old administrator behind the stone steel also showed a grave expression, appearing extremely flabbergasted. There was a crisp sound, and a crack appeared on the metal puppet's neck. A resplendent saber light shot out from that crack, looking as dazzling as the sun. Before everyone's incredulous gaze, the metal puppet's head separated from its neck with a ka-ca. The instant the metal puppet's head flew off, a boundless saber wind surged out from its neck. A strong saber intent hummed along with the wind, reverberating in every corner of the vast hall. The strong and horrifying saber intent made everyone shudder in fear. The wind kept blowing for a long time, causing the noisy hall to slowly quiet down. Only the humming of the wind could be heard. Such a scene attracted several elders and administrators of the sect affairs office to come out from their hiding places. When they saw the headless metal puppet, they were all startled. The metal puppet that had stood in the hall for more than 1,000 years had its head chopped off. The metal puppet's neck was specially reinforced. No cultivator under the age of 50 could chop it off. But now, this unbelievable scene had happened in real life. The old administrator behind the stone steel narrowed his eyes and sighed. He had not expected to make such a mistake. He smiled bitterly and said, "Little friend, let this saber wind stop. There's no need. Let this wind continue blowing. I want someone to remember how I defeated him." Amid the boundless strong wind, Xiao Chen hugged the lunar shadow saber and glanced indifferently at Xia Yang, whose mouth was agape. Let the wind continue blowing. I want someone to know how I defeated him. These words sounded very calm and unperturbed. However, they were like a heavy slap to Xia Yang's face, resounding loudly. Xia Yang thought about how Xia Yang had defeated him after he scored 9 points. He had a proud expression on his face and shouted, "How are you going to defeat me?" Now, Xiao Chen used the best action to prove how Xia Yang defeated him. The way Xiao Chen won, the way he won, made Xia Yang's face hurt from the wind. For this stage, our people from the Hall of Sect Affairs had a discussion. Although the gemstone didn't light up, it's still not enough. Although the gems did not light up, the strength that Xiaoqin displayed does not need to be proven. We will give him 10 points for this stage. The wind slowly stopped. As everyone expected, Xiaoqin, who chopped off the metal puppet's head, obtained the rare perfect score. Xiaoqin firmly surpassed Xia Yang, taking first place. After hearing the administrator's conclusion, Ba Tu could not help but laugh. My apologies, first young Master Lu. My brother made a fool of himself in front of you. Unfortunately, you are not even comparable to a joke. I remember that you only scored 9 points for this stage. Lu Yun was very angry. He had not expected Xiaoqin to use such a decisive method to turn things around. Everyone thought that he would definitely lose in the first round, but he made a huge comeback. Don't get cocky. There are still 3 more stages. The victor is not decided yet. Lu Yun said coldly. Ba Tu rubbed his chin and smiled. These words are really familiar. Oh, that's right. Didn't I say it earlier? Ha! How did Brother Lu rebuke me? Every dog had its day. Seeing Lu Yun's deflated appearance, Ba Tu felt very carefree. How many years had it been since Xiaoqin had seen Lu Yun so angry? This gamble was worth it. Don't get cocky. I will not lose to you in the next 3 stages. Chapter 1173. Xia Yang said coldly to Xiaoqin. Then, he stepped forward. The next stage tested movement techniques, which were also based on 10 points. Xia Yang's performance in this stage was not very good. The 10th layer Thunder Fire art allowed his explosive power to far surpass that of the younger generation. However, his movement technique was much weaker. He only managed to get 7 points in this stage, barely passing the passing line. Seeing his opponent's unsatisfactory performance, Xiaoqin was happy and relaxed. He held back some of his strength, using only the Great Perfection Thunder Dragon steps to obtain 8 points. Xiaoqin did not have a specific goal. He just needed to obtain 1 point more than his opponent in each stage. He could not do anything about the first stage. Xia Yang obtained 9 points. If Xiaoqin did not bring out his full strength, he would not be able to surpass him. In the second stage, Xiaoqin could preserve his strength. Naturally, Xiaoqin chose to do so. Among the cultivators watching, Xiaoqin discovered several strong existences. The auras they gave off were no weaker than Lu Yun's. Xiaoqin did not know what these people were here for. If he could preserve some of his strength, he would do so, not letting others see through him. The third stage tested eyesight. There was no need to mention this stage. Xiaoqin had already cultivated the Heavenly Eye. If Xiaoqin opened the Heavenly Eye, even the half-step Emperor Wu would not be a match for him. He did not need to open the Heavenly Eye to deal with Xia Yang. Xiaoqin easily obtained 7 points, defeating his opponent's 6 points. It looked like the two were locked in a stalemate. Every time, it seemed like Xia Yang had a chance to defeat Xiaoqin. However, Xiaoqin surpassed him by 1 point every time. After 3 stages, the gap between the two reached 3 points. Lu Yun's expression turned increasingly unsightly. At the start, Ba Tu, whom Lu Yun looked down on, smiled more widely. The fourth stage tested practical combat. With Xiaoqin's intentional control, Lu Yun finally defeated Xiaoqin, defeating Xiaoqin's 6 points with 7 points. After the 4 stages, Xiaoqin obtained a total of 31 points, and Xia Yang obtained 29 points. The two's total points successfully entered the top 50 of the Outstanding Talent token. Among the Heaven's Pride tokens, Xiaoqin had engraved the number 30, while Xia Yang had engraved the number 49. The numbers represented their rankings. It was clear who won and who lost the bet between Ba Tu and Lu Yun. Everyone had already somewhat expected the final outcome from the moment Xiaoqin chopped off the Iron Man's head. However, Xiaoqin still could not accept it. How could a nameless person turn the tables and defeat the Thunder Fire Sovereign's descendant, Xia Yang? Ha! Young man, you are quite ambitious. I wonder how much of your strength you will be able to bring out in the test for the proud son of heaven token. The old deacon who had first tested Xiao Chen's strength had keenly noticed that Xiao Chen had concealed his true strength in the last few tests, so he had secretly transmitted a message to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen did not pay too much attention to it. He hid his strength simply to avoid some trouble. He did not have any other ambitions. He could only say that this old deacon was thinking too much. 200 essence stones. Quickly take them out. The victor had already been decided. Ba Tu immediately led Xiao Chen to demand repayment, not giving Lu Yun any face. Lu Yun's face darkened as he tossed out 200 essence stones. He said coldly, "Let me tell you, my essence stones are not that easy to obtain. Don't run into me at the summit meeting." After saying that, Lu Yun felt that he had lost too much face, so he quickly left. Xia Yang, who followed closely behind, glanced at Xiao Chen before leaving without saying a word. Is that so? I think they are easy to obtain. Coincidentally, I lack essence stones. Many thanks, Brother Lu. Ba Tu said loudly to Lu Yun, who had already gone far away, as he accepted the essence stones with a carefree smile on his face. Come, let's go and have a drink. This was really delightful. Ba Tu directly handed the essence stones to Xiao Chen, not showing any intention of putting them in his pocket. Then, he led Xiao Chen out of the city lord's residence. The commotion slowly died down. However, news of Xiao Chen chopping off the metal puppet's head with one saber strike in the city lord's residence's clan affairs hall, which was unprecedented in history, would definitely spread throughout the entire Dark City in a short time. As a bladesman, Xiao Chen obtained full marks in the first stage of the Outstanding Talent Tokens test, putting him on par with the half-step Emperor Wu. However, to everyone's surprise, Xiao Chen's feat in the clan affairs hall was just the beginning. Over the next few days, people continued to obtain the Outstanding Talent Token, setting new records one after another. Furthermore, most of these people were not the local outstanding talents of Dark City. They were all outsiders, giving off the feeling that a storm was brewing. The cultivators in Dark City only reacted when the news of the start of the new Outstanding Talent Summit meeting spread. These strong outstanding talents that suddenly appeared were people from other sea domains who came to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. The originally restless Dark City immediately turned even more chaotic. Every day, there would be fierce battles between outstanding talents, trying to determine who was stronger. Among them, many of the outsiders had made a name for themselves in a series of fierce battles. This allowed people to know the names of these people in advance. Dark City was very chaotic. However, Xiao Chen did not care about this chaos. He remained in the Flame Rock Fortress and anxiously repaired the dragon subduing platform with Yu Bingyun. Xiao Chen anxiously repaired the dragon subduing platform with Yu Bingyun. Even his cultivation time was squeezed out. With the Outstanding Talent Token, Xiao Chen successfully purchased the divine materials he needed to repair the dragon subduing platform. At the same time, he saved a large sum of black astral coins, allowing him to experience the great benefits of the Outstanding Talent Token. Yu Bingyun did not go anywhere in Dark City. When she learned that Xiao Chen wanted to repair the dragon subduing platform, she took the initiative to offer her help. The repair was a huge project. It would be great if someone was willing to help. Xiao Chen did not think too much before agreeing. On this particular day, the repair of the dragon subduing platform reached its final stage. Ba Tu rushed over to inform Xiao Chen of a piece of news. My first brother, Ba Yan, came out of closed-door cultivation and wants to meet you. Xiao Chen had heard of Ba Tu's first brother, Ba Yan. This person was very strong and ranked among the top of the many outstanding talents in Dark City. Even that Lu Yun once suffered at Ba Yan's hands. Xiao Chen had stayed in this Flame Rock Fortress for a long time. Be it out of courtesy or curiosity, Xiao Chen wanted to meet this person. Xiao Chen stopped what he was doing and followed Ba Tu together with Yu Bingyun. When they arrived at a drill ground in the fortress, they saw Ba Yan exchanging moves with a senior of his clan on the drill ground. A stout man who looked somewhat similar to Ba Tu stood on the drill ground. His entire body surged with energy. Every time he punched, there would be the sound of rocks crashing and flames surging. Every move of this man was extremely ferocious. He walked the path of opening and closing. However, these simple moves had a certain charm to them. After watching for a long time, Xiaoqin discovered the profoundness behind them. Ba Yan cultivated two wills, the will of fire and the will of rock. He cultivated both wills to great perfection. Furthermore, he used an ingenious method to merge them, forming the will of flame rock unique to the flame rock sovereign's bloodline. The will of flame contained a surging, boundless explosive force and the hardness and toughness of rock. Ba Yan's opponent was a consummation blue-robed emperor of the flame rock fortress. Although this was not a battle to the death, the fight was still extremely intense. Although that old man used all his means, he could not make up for it. When Ba Tu saw this, he revealed an expression of worship. "This is my first brother." When he came out of closed-door cultivation, he cultivated the flame rock art to the 10th layer. He is the most talented person in the history of our clan. When my grandfather was this young, he only cultivated the flame rock art to the 9th layer. Yu Bingyun smiled and asked, "What layer are you at now?" Ba Tu smiled embarrassedly and replied, "Can this be a secret?" "I'm too embarrassed to say." Although Ba Tu did not say it, Xiaoqin could tell that Ba Tu's flame rock art had only reached the peak of the 6th layer, not even breaking through to the 7th layer. Compared to his first brother, Ba Tu was far from comparable. However, this was not because Ba Tu was too weak. Ba Tu's talent was not bad either. Rather, it was because his first brother, Ba Yan, was too strong, too dazzling. Bang! Rock and flame merged. When Ba Yan punched with a mighty might, he forced the old man back another 10 steps. The battle in the martial arts arena came to an end here and did not continue. Ha! After first young master comes out of closed-door cultivation, you will definitely shine brightly at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. The descendants of the other great bandits will never imagine that first young master has cultivated the flame rock art to the 10th layer, the old man who was sparring with Ba Yan said with a smile. The old man said with a smile, his face full of anticipation. Ba Yan looked as carefree as Ba Tuesday. He looked like he was in a good mood, but he appeared more cautious and reserved. Ba Yan's eyes burned with a strong fighting spirit, filled with boundless confidence. However, he did not speak confidently. Our clan's flame rock art is a peak inferior grade cultivation technique among profound cultivation techniques. Being able to cultivate it to the 10th layer is indeed a great advantage. However, it is not good to underestimate others because of this. There are no ordinary people among the descendants of great bandits. After saying that, Ba Yan dismissed the old man. Then, he walked over to Xiaoqin excitedly with a smile on his face. "You are the Blue Dragon King Xiaoqin that my younger brother mentioned. According to my younger brother, you are very incredible. You even chopped down that Iron Man from the Clan Affairs Hall with one strike. Let's exchange a few moves." Ba Yan's words sounded very provocative. Ba Tu quickly said, "Xiaoqin, don't mind him. My older brother's temper is like this. When he sees an expert, he can't help itching for a fight. After being in closed-door cultivation for so long, he has not improved at all. It's fine. I would like to see Brother Ba Yan's martial techniques as well." Xiaoqin did not dislike such people. In fact, he was somewhat similar to them. When he saw an expert that made his eyes light up, he could not help wanting to spar with them. He wanted to see what he could learn from them and improve himself. Or perhaps, he just wanted to find an opponent for himself. If a cultivator kept cultivating behind closed doors, without having experienced hundreds of battles, they would definitely regress. Ba Yan smiled and said, "It looks like we are on the same path. Let's exchange 3 moves, then." Xiaoqin nodded and said, "That's what I was thinking. Let's go." Before Batu's and Yu Bingyun's stunned gazes, the two people who had just met immediately went to the drill platform, preparing to fight. A strange look flashed in Yu Bingyun's eyes. She said, "Why is your elder brother looking for Shao Chen? Could it be that he wants to spar with him?" Chapter 1174. Ba Tu scratched his head and said, "I'm not sure either. It seems like Big Brother received an invitation and is preparing to bring Shao Chen along. He should be testing his strength now." As the two of them spoke, Shao Chen and Ba Yan started fighting. Compared to the other cultivators, Ba Yan appeared extremely simple and crude. He did not store up any power, simply raising his hand and punching. Blazing fire, burning clouds. This move was based on the state of raging fire. The moment Ba Yan moved his feet, a surging sea of fire instantly spread out. What a shocking explosive power! The other party's explosive power slightly surprised Shao Chen. Furthermore, there was no need for him to accumulate power at all. He could control it as he wished. Not daring to be careless, Shao Chen's figure flashed as he executed the Great Perfection Thunder Dragon steps. His body became like a dragon as he took 7 steps forward. With every step he took, 1 or 2 wild lightning dragons would shoot out from beneath Shao Chen's feet, and they would roar towards the sky while baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. After he took 7 steps, 12 berserk electric dragons flew out from behind Shao Chen. At this moment, he instantly drew his lunar shadow saber and clashed with his opponent's punch. The auras of the two sides clashed, clashing head-on. The saber light and the fist light clashed, giving off a loud sound and kicking up a cloud of dust. However, when the dust settled, Shao Chen took 5 steps back, but Ba Yan took 10 steps back. What kind of saber technique is this? It is so fast, yet it can still erupt with such might. Ba Yan appeared somewhat shocked. Shao Chen raised his saber and stood upright. He said, "Thunder Dragon Chop. I condensed the lightning tribulation saber technique that I comprehended in the past into a saber technique. I only recently comprehended it as well. It looks like it is pretty strong." Using the Thunder Dragon steps as the foundation and the lightning tribulation saber technique from before, this was a new move that Shao Chen came up with in the Blood Sword Sovereign's cave. Without the advancement of the Thunder Dragon steps, this move would not have appeared. Looking at it now, it was indeed extraordinarily mighty. Hee, interesting. Take another punch from me, conquering the world fist. This punch also obtained the will of rock, not as ferocious and explosive as the will of fire. However, the aura that Shao Chen's fist technique revealed was even more domineering. It was as if he wanted to suppress the mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers with one punch. As Ba Yan soared into the air, the mysterious phenomenon of mountains and rivers appeared under his feet. With this punch, all the mountains and rivers submitted. This move was not as ferocious as before, and the aura it exuded was much weaker. However, the tyrannical aura it radiated gave Shao Chen even greater pressure. Good timing. This move completely aroused Shao Chen's competitive spirit. With a loud laugh, he stomped on the ground with one foot. Immediately, a cyan dragon shadow flew out from Shao Chen's body. The 10,000 heavenly laws in his body all turned into illusory dragons. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 dragons soared into the air, roaring in unison. As Shao Chen slashed down with his saber, he materialized the subduing dragon profound slash, forming a green saber light that reached the sky. Ba Tu gaped and exclaimed, "Damn! He is trying to destroy the stage." Yu Bingyun also felt some shock. However, she was much calmer than Ba Tuesday. She said indifferently, "Don't worry. It is just a simple exchange. The two of them know their limits and will not bring out their full strength." The punch that contained the might of mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers struck the cyan saber light. Ka-sia. Cracks appeared on the surface of Ba Yan's fist, and countless specks of dust flew out. Shao Chen's saber strike had broken Ba Yan's protective rock veritable energy. However, the might of this punch was similarly startling. A clear crack appeared in the saber light where Ba Yan's fist struck. "I'm not fighting anymore, I'm not fighting anymore." When Ba Yan saw his protective veritable energy break, he was startled and quickly retreated. When Xiao Chen looked at Xiao Chen again, he no longer dared to underestimate Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's fist subduing rivers and mountains was extremely powerful. This was the first time Ba Yan met someone in the same generation who could break his defense. Ba Yan already lost in the first move, and his protective rock veritable energy broke in the second move. If they continued fighting, he would have to use his trump card in the third move. However, Ba Yan did not intend to use his trump cards so early. The two moves were very efficient, allowing the two to gain a clearer understanding of each other's strength. Although Ba Yan was slightly weaker in this exchange, he still looked as graceful as before. The first move's horrifying eruption could be executed at will. Xiao Chen circulated the Thunder Dragon steps and took 7 steps before he managed to gain a slight advantage with the Thunder Dragon chop. The second move, fist subduing rivers, subduing mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers, was even more tyrannical. This was the first time someone nearly broke Xiao Chen's subduing dragon profound slash. Xiao Chen felt some anticipation for the third move. If he guessed right, the third move should merge the will of fire and the will of rock. Then, he would circulate the 10th layer of the flame rock art and execute them together to form a horrifying killing move. Xiao Chen estimated that if he perfectly executed it, it would rival a medial-grade profound martial technique. Unfortunately, Ba Yan suddenly withdrew at the crucial moment. Not bad. Ha! It looks like Ba Tu was right. You are even stronger than he described. Ba Yan walked over while laughing loudly. He did not hold any grudges because he was weaker than Xiao Chen. Instead, his eyes filled with joy. It looked like this Ba Yan was truly a battle maniac. He was the kind of cultivator who truly indulged in combat and did not care about victory or defeat. Big brother, how is it? With Xiao Chen's strength, he can accompany you to that gathering, right? Ba Tu asked with a smile as he walked over with Yu Bingyun. Ba Yan nodded and said, naturally, he can. However, brother Xiao Chen has to be willing first. Xiao Chen felt somewhat confused as he asked, what gathering? Ba Yan took out an invitation and smiled. I don't know who initiated it, but it's a small gathering for the successors of the 13 great bandits. I received it the moment I came out of closed-door cultivation. Hee hee. It should be someone who wants to test the might of my fist. I don't think I'm a descendant of a great bandit, Xiao Chen said with a frown. He felt that this gathering had nothing to do with him. Ba Yan smiled and said, how can you not figure it out? Even an uncouth person like me knows that this gathering is a test of strength before the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. Tell me, does it have anything to do with you? Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. It was the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting again. Xiao Chen had already heard these words several times. However, he had been busy repairing and rebuilding the dragon subduing platform, so he did not know what the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was. Could it be that you still do not know what the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is after being in Dark City for so long? Seeing that Xiao Chen still had a somewhat confused expression, Ba Yan and Ba Tu both showed surprised expressions. Xiao Chen smiled embarrassedly and said, I really do not know about this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. I came to Dark City for another matter. I am preparing to leave 3 days later. Ba Tu, tell him about it. I thought that he was here for the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. Ba Tu thought for a while and organized his words. Then, he said, the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting is jointly held by the factions of the 13 Great Bandits. The purpose of this is to promote competition between the various outstanding talents. It is held once every 5 years, and it is like a test. Anyone with an outstanding talent token can register. The competition is intense and cruel. The top 10 will all receive rewards. The top 3 will receive the most valuable rewards. They will all receive varying amounts of essence stones. The first place will receive a medial-grade profound martial technique and a chance to enter the dark blood pool to strengthen the physical body. Essence stones. A medial-grade profound martial technique. A light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. These two items held a fatal attraction to any blue-robed emperor. No wonder the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was so attractive. This also explained why he saw so many cultivators from the foreign seas coming to apply for an Outstanding Talent token at the city administration hall. What do you think? Do you still think that this small gathering has nothing to do with you? Ba Yan said with a smile, it is very difficult for those who rely on connections to get in. Even if Ba Tu wanted to go, I would not bring him. The ones going this time will definitely be the strongest of the great bandits' descendants. Without sufficient strength, you will only be humiliated. Xiao Chen quickly made his decision. He said seriously, many thanks, Brother Ba Yan. When are we leaving? Good. Let's go now, then. After being in closed-door cultivation for more than half a year, my bones have already turned soft. It is time to meet up with those old friends. Ba Yan's eyes blazed with fighting spirit as he put away the invitation letter and led Xiao Chen away. Before leaving, there were still some finishing touches to the dragon subduing platform's repairs. So, Xiao Chen could only ask Yu Bingyun to help. Fortunately, Yu Bingyun did not reject it, happily accepting it. However, Xiao Chen found it strange. Given Yu Bingyun's strength, she should be able to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. However, she did not seem interested. With Ba Yan leading the way, the two flew around the city without any fear. With the Outstanding Talent token in hand, they completely ignored the rules of Dark City that prohibited flying. Along the way, Ba Yan was very talkative. Perhaps it was because of their bloodline, but the descendants of the Flame Rock Sovereign were rather carefree, not holding back when they spoke. Hee. Xiao Chen, what exactly is the relationship between you and the Holy Daughter? Thanks to you, this is the first time the Lunar Palace's Holy Daughter has come to our Flame Rock Castle as a guest. Ba Yan was no different from Ba Tu in this aspect, they were both very gossipy. Helpless, Xiao Chen could only give a solemn explanation. However, Ba Yan still did not believe him. Hee. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. We have arrived. After traveling for a long time, the two arrived before a restaurant in the inner city. The restaurant gave off a strange aura. Its frame felt exceptionally sturdy. This is the famous Conflagration restaurant of Dark City. The entire restaurant is made of divine materials. Furthermore, there are restrictions laid on it. Even if a battle breaks out in there, it will not damage the restaurant. It is the favorite place of the Black Sea cultivators. Ba Yan had been to the Conflagration restaurant several times before, so he was familiar with the place. Ba Yan strode in, and the originally noisy hall immediately fell silent. Nearly everyone's gazes focused on him. Damn! This battle maniac came out of closed-door cultivation. Hurry up and leave. After holding it in for more than half a year, I wonder who he will vent his anger on. A moment of panic appeared in the hall. The messy tables immediately opened up a path for Ba Yan. Xiao Chen laughed hoarsely and said, it looks like you are quite famous in this place. Ba Yan's lips curled up as he said, how boring. I still miss the first time I came here. Back then, I fought to my heart's content. Now, the Black Sea cultivators are becoming increasingly cowardly. The location of the gathering was on the second floor of the Conflagration restaurant. Someone had already reserved the entire place. Without an invitation, one could not enter. Chapter 1175. After handing over the invitation, the two of them walked in smoothly. Compared to the bustling hall, the second floor was much quieter. The two did not arrive early. Several young cultivators were already seated in the seats that had been cleared. The instant Xiao Chen stepped onto the second floor, he immediately felt several sharp gazes directed at him. There were many familiar faces here. Lu Yun and Xia Yang were here. It looked like they had been here for a long time. What surprised Xiao Chen was that Jiang Feng, whom he met at Blackwater Island, was here as well. After not seeing Jiang Feng for some time, Jiang Feng's strength had increased very quickly. He now exuded a dangerous aura. Clearly, Zhao Feng noticed Xiao Chen as well. He was similarly surprised. However, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes, and his lips curled up in a cruel smile. Several people who saw Xiao Chen started discussing in whispers. Xiao Chen chopped off the metal puppet's head with one saber strike. This news had recently spread like wildfire, inciting a huge debate. A blue-clad bladesman on a seat suddenly smacked the table. A wine cup flew up and spun around quickly. "Hey, white-robed bladesman, you have been in the limelight recently. I'll treat you to a cup of wine." The blue-clad bladesman smiled coldly and gently smacked the wine cup. Immediately, the wine cup flew at Xiao Chen at a speed that the naked eye could not catch. Indeed, it was as Ba Yan said. The people who came were all unruly. If one was weak, one would only be humiliated. The moment Xiao Chen entered the second floor, someone immediately put on a show of strength. The wine cup that flew over from nowhere was very particular. It was not just at a speed that was hard to catch with the naked eye. All the wine in the cup was infused with the blue-clad bladesman's strong saber intent. If Xiao Chen was not careful, he would end up making a fool of himself, regardless of whether he could catch it or not. If Xiao Chen caught it, the wine filled with saber intent would have long since reached a critical point after spinning thousands of times, exploding upon contact. The explosion would have covered Xiao Chen's entire body. Every drop of water was a lethal existence. Xiao Chen could not avoid a sorry state. If Xiao Chen could not catch it, the other party would say that he was not sincere. This show of strength was very powerful. The descendants of the great bandits were all sneering, waiting to see how Xiao Chen would respond. Ba Yan narrowed his eyes slightly and did not make a move. This was a show of strength aimed at Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen couldn't even pass this small hurdle, it could only prove that he had misjudged and shouldn't have brought Xiao Chen here. Xiao Chen smiled gently. It was unknown when the lunar shadow saber had appeared in his left hand. In the time it took for a spark to fly, the resplendent saber was unsheathed. "Who?" The instant Xiao Chen drew his saber, a strong wind containing Xiao Chen's saber intent howled out, lifting everyone's hair. First, Xiao Chen used his strong saber intent to suppress the saber intent in the wine, stopping it from spinning. When the saber was completely drawn, the saber and the wine cup happened to be in a straight line. The wine cup stopped firmly on the tip of the saber. Xiao Chen used his outstanding eyesight, strong saber soul, and fast speed to catch the other party's wine cup. The two looked like good friends that had not met for many years when the blue-clad youth tossed out the wine cup. The blue-clad youth tossed out the wine cup, and Xiao Chen drew his saber to catch it. Their cooperation was tacit. This tense and exciting scene might sound complicated, but in reality, it happened in just an instant, in the blink of an eye. The wine cup stopped spinning on the tip of the saber, and the wine shot out. Xiao Chen raised his head and opened his mouth. The wine flew in a beautiful arc and landed in Xiao Chen's mouth. "Not bad. This is indeed good wine. I'll return the cup to you." Xiao Chen sheathed his saber, and the wine cup stopped hovering in the air. Then, he wiped the wine off his mouth. Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes, and the 60% comprehended saber soul in his sea of consciousness moved with a thought. Then, it attached itself to the wine cup and flew towards the blue-clad youth. The empty wine cup that flew over was like an unparalleled saber light, boundlessly sharp and containing a boundless saber intent. According to the etiquette of toasts, Xiao Chen should have offered a cup of wine in return, not an empty cup. Naturally, Xiao Chen knew about etiquette. However, he had another reason for doing so. The blue-clad youth put on a show of strength the first time they met. Honestly speaking, Xiao Chen did not feel much resentment. This was how the world of cultivators was in the first place. The tallest tree in the forest would be destroyed by the wind. Xiao Chen had long since calmly accepted this. However, he had his own pride. If the other party could catch this empty cup, he would be qualified to receive a toast from him. If the blue-clad youth could not catch it, then he would be sorry. Xiao Chen would not even look at this person in the eye. After Xiao Chen perfectly caught his wine cup with the tip of his saber, the blue-clad youth's expression became much more restrained. When the blue-clad youth saw the empty cup return, his expression turned grave. As the saying went, the layman watched the excitement, while the expert watched the excitement. The two's exchange looked very flashy. All the outstanding talents present knew what kind of danger was contained within these few simple actions. If it were a small perfection blue-robed emperor without much strength, that cup of wine from the blue-clad bladesman would have been sufficient to severely injure him. However, not only did Xiao Chen catch it perfectly, but he even returned an empty cup to the blue-clad youth, testing the blue-clad youth's strength. The situation immediately became interesting. Interesting. Lu Yang's grandfather is known as the Black Sea Saber Sovereign. He has always been the strongest bladesman of the Black Sea's younger generation. This time, he probably met with an expert. I wonder if he can catch the cup. All the outstanding talents turned their gazes to Lu Yang, wanting to see how he would deal with this. This increased the pressure on him. Lu Yang's thoughts raced. Many countermeasures flashed in his mind, but he rejected them all. It was not difficult to catch the empty cup. However, not only did he have to catch it, but he also had to catch it as beautifully as Xiao Chen did, casually catching it. Otherwise, if he put in too much effort, he would end up at a disadvantage in this formless competition. In one breath of time, Lu Yang thought of a countermeasure. He stretched out his right index finger and gently tapped, catching the empty cup flying over perfectly. Hu Qi. The wine cup spun rapidly in Lu Yang's hand. Every time it spun, it scattered a large portion of the saber intent that Xiao Chen added to it. The wind howled, buzzing. The saber wind that Lu Yang sent out lingered on the second floor. It was like many treasured sabers humming endlessly. The sharp saber intent made everyone's expression turn serious. This empty cup that Xiao Chen returned with was not simple at all. Similarly, Lu Yang's hand that caught the empty cup with one finger was not careless at all. The two of them were evenly matched as they fought back and forth. There is no wine in the cup. It looks like young Master Xiao says that it is good wine, but in reality, you look down on this Lu's wine. You are not even willing to return a cup. Never mind, this Lu will offer you another cup. I will make sure that your words are the same, no longer saying one thing and thinking another. In Lu Yang's mouth, the empty wine cup that Xiao Chen used to test the waters became a new excuse, an excuse for him to make another move. Lu Yang spun the wine cup around his finger and smiled faintly. Then, he suddenly let go, letting the cup spin in the air. It was like magic. The instant Lu Yang let go, an exquisitely carved white jade wine bottle emanating a cold qi appeared in his right hand. The wine that flowed out was like snow melting on a mountain peak, slowly falling into the wine cup. The temperature of the entire second floor plummeted. As Lu Yang poured the wine, it became increasingly cold. It was so cold that everyone felt their blood freeze. Strands of cold qi rose from the wine cup. An alluring wine fragrance spread out, shattering one's heart and causing them to reveal an intoxicated expression. What wine is this? Why is it so fragrant? It must be a peak quality wine. At the same time, it perfectly matches Lu Yang's will of ice. The wine that he is going to offer is definitely extraordinary. Interesting. This is getting more and more interesting. The outstanding young talents discussed the unexpected clash between the two bladesmen. Everyone was filled with anticipation. When the wine cup landed on the table, it was filled to the brim. Lu Yang put down the wine bottle and picked up the wine cup, shaking it gently. A clump of snowflakes soared up from the wine. Countless snowflakes bloomed, and an ice phoenix grabbed the wine cup and spread its wings to fly away. This wine is called Thousand-Year Snow. I was fortunate enough to buy 10 bottles in the distant ice sea. I hope that I will not disappoint Brother Xiao this time. Lu Yang's gaze turned cold. The wine cup filled with thousand-year snow emanated Lu Yang's cold and emotionless saber intent. Then, he charged forward together with the ice phoenix. The ice phoenix, which was originally just an image, seemed to come to life with the support of Liu Yang's saber intent. The ice phoenix held the wine cup with its claws. Its eyes were cold and piercing, looking cold-blooded and emotionless. Just this cold gaze alone allowed others to catch a glimpse of Liu Yang's strong saber intent. The sudden appearance of the ice phoenix caused the wine cup to fly over much faster than before. As it spread its wings, it carried a sharp saber intent and a strong pressure. Xiaochen did not dare to underestimate it. He dodged and pushed off the ground. Then, he spread his arms and slowly flew backward. He retreated. Liu Yang's lips curled up in a cocky smile. In the end, he still retreated. However, Liu Yang's smile slowly froze. As Xiaochen retreated, his white robes fluttered and his long hair fluttered. Every strand of his hair and every strand of his fluttering robes gave off a strong saber intent. Ding! Ding! Dang! Dang! As Xiaochen's hair fluttered, the sound of the saber sounded like zither music. As Xiaochen's robes fluttered, the sound of the saber sounded like a heroic war drum. As the zither and drum sounded, Xiaochen advanced by retreating. He used his strong saber intent to resolve Liu Yang's sharp and unparalleled saber intent on the ice phoenix step by step. Xiaochen spun around and smiled faintly. Then, he sat behind a table and casually put down the lunar shadow saber. Then, he stretched out his hand to catch the wine cup. Xiaochen easily caught the wine cup of the ice phoenix, which had already exhausted its saber intent. The ice phoenix circled around Xiaochen's head before turning into snowflakes and drifting down. Looking at the wine cup in the wine cup, Xiaochen picked it up and drained it in one gulp. When the wine entered his throat, it felt incredibly spicy and had a strong aftertaste. It made him feel very carefree and delighted. It is indeed a good wine. Young Master Liu, you lived up to your words, Xiaochen praised Liu Yang as he put down the wine cup with a slightly flushed face, appearing somewhat tipsy. Liu Yang's heart sank, but his hands did not stop moving. He said coldly, as the saying goes, drink 3 cups when you meet. Since it is good wine, then drink 3 cups in a row. Liu Yang, who was not convinced, filled 3 cups of thousand-year snow with dazzling movements. Then, he sent them to Xiaochen again. Good timing. Xiaochen was a wine lover in the first place. This thousand-year snow suited his taste. He laughed loudly and picked up the empty wine cup. Then, he infused his saber soul into it and knocked it against the table. Bang! Chapter 1176. The 3 incoming ice phoenixes shattered under Xiaochen's full-force attack. As the snowflakes swirled in the air, Xiaochen downed 3 cups in a row. Not satisfying enough. Xiaochen put down the wine cup heavily. He felt his entire body relax, like he was drunk but not drunk. The more he drank, the stronger he became. As you wish. Liu Yang's expression turned slightly unsightly. He stood up, and his aura erupted. Liu Yang's hands moved so fast that no one could see them clearly. Cup after cup of thousand-year snow flew out together with the ice phoenixes and snow birds. In the main hall, all the geniuses were a little stunned. They did not expect a simple toast to be so majestic. Wearing the fleeting shadow gloves, Xiaochen looked at the dazzling ice phoenixes. His hands moved much faster than Liu Yang's. Cup after cup, Xiaochen seemed to be truly drunk. He could not help but laugh loudly in the wind and snow. A strong saber intent spread out from his body. As he laughed, his usual calm was gone, replaced by arrogance and indulgence. Pooh! Liu Yang's movements stopped. He discovered that his wine cup was empty. The thousand-year snow he brought had already been used up. As for Xiaochen, he had already drunk more than 100 cups. No more wine. It's fine. I have some. As the saying goes, 1,000 cups are not enough when drinking with a bosom friend. Although young Master Liu and I are not bosom friends, we are both wine lovers. Since you have toasted me 100 cups, I will return 1,000 cups. Xiao Chen put down his wine cup and stood up. His fine black hair fluttered in the wind like a waterfall. Buzz! 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 The empty cups on every table on the second floor started to tremble under the influence of Xiao Chen's 60% comprehended saber soul. However, these cups were not enough. The saber intent spread out, and all the empty wine cups in the hall started to tremble violently. What's going on? The many cultivators in the conflagration restaurant all had horrified expressions. They did not know what was happening. Whoosh! With a thought from Xiao Chen, all the wine cups gathered on the second floor. There were exactly 1,000 cups, no more, no less. All the 1,000-year flame that Xiao Chen collected flew out of the universe ring. He casually waved his hand, and the wine bottle shattered. Golden wine flickered with a golden light as it sprayed out. Not a single drop was spilled, and all of it fell into the wine cup hovering in the air. Buzz! The wine cup shook slightly, and clumps of flames soared up. With the support of Xiao Chen's saber soul, they formed a huge golden crow. The golden crow spread its wings, and a horrifying saber intent pressed down on everyone, making it hard to breathe. A startled cry rang out as the golden crow slowly flew towards Lu Yang, carrying 1,000 cups of 1,000-year flame. When Xiao Chen looked at Lu Yang, this descendant of the Black Sea Saber Sovereign was already scared silly, his legs trembling slightly. Who among the heroes of the world dared to say that they would not be drunk after 1,000 cups of wine? Since you've toasted me 100 cups, I'll return 1,000. Do you dare to drink? The huge golden crow gave off a dazzling, golden light. Xiao Chen's strong 60% comprehended saber's soul made the golden crow's aura extremely sharp. Together with the 1,000 cups of 1,000-year flame, the golden crow not only suppressed Lu Yang, the descendant of the saber sovereign, but also caused his legs to go soft. Even the descendants of the other great bandits showed stunned expressions. They felt immense pressure, and their hearts pounded heavily. At the same time, they felt some lingering fear. Fortunately, the one who mocked Xiao Chen was not them. Just thinking about the 1,000 cups of wine pressing down on them made them tremble in fear. After 100 cups of 1,000-year snow entered his stomach, Xiao Chen felt slightly dizzy. He had not drunk so much in a long time. Xiao Chen had not gotten drunk in a long time. He could no longer remember the last time he got drunk. Who cares about his identity as the Blue Dragon King? Who cares about being the descendant of the Qing Emperor? Who cares about being a meteor if he does not advance to Martial Emperor in 5 years? This time, I'll just get drunk. I don't care about anything else. I'll be arrogant and unrestrained. Xiao Chen's hair and clothes fluttered continuously. His strong saber intent worked together with Xiao Chen's. The tyrannical aura that he had kept hidden in his heart for a long time was unleashed without any reservations. Ha 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 ha. In the vast Black Sea where outstanding talents gather, there is not a single person who dares to drink with me. As Xiao Chen held the wine cup, he blushed slightly. When he saw the frightened Lu Yang, he could not help but laugh loudly. His laughter was unrestrained, coupled with his drunkenness, making him feel very happy. The strange movements of the wine cups earlier startled the hundreds of cultivators in the hall of the conflagration restaurant. This was the place where the fiercest cultivators of the Black Sea gathered. However, when they arrived at the top of the restaurant and peeked at the situation on the second floor, they could not help being startled. Damn it! Who is this? How arrogant! How arrogant! Boundlessly arrogant. This is the first time I feel that this Lu Yang is so pitiful. Who would dare to accept these 1,000 cups of wine? This white-robed blades man seems to be the person who caused a huge commotion recently. He is the one who chopped off the head of the City Affairs Hall's metal puppet. So, it is him. I've heard of him before. I heard that Xia Yang, the descendant of the Thunder Fire Sovereign, won in a domineering manner. At that time, he really shocked a lot of people. Seeing Xiao Chen's unrestrained manner, the cultivators who were peeking discussed in low voices. Their eyes filled with worship. The strong reigned supreme, no matter where it was. On the second floor, Ba Yan blushed with shame. This Xiao Chen brother was probably really drunk, daring to say anything. With one sentence, he offended all the outstanding talents present. Hee hee. However, he is arrogant enough. I like it. Ba Yan said with a grin. When Lu Yang heard Xiao Chen's words, his complexion alternated between red and white. He felt very ashamed. Earlier, he had mocked Xiao Chen, but Xiao Chen did not return the toast. Now that he had 1,000 cups, Lu Yang regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. If Lu Yang had to face such a vast saber intent alone, he would not be able to match it. Don't laugh at my black sea for having no one. I want Zhao Feng to drink with you. Unexpectedly, the first outstanding talent to step forward was actually Jiang Feng, who had suffered at Xiao Chen's hands once. Xiao Chen's eyes were hazy from drunkenness. When he saw Jiang Feng step forward, he laughed loudly and said, I'll toast you 100 cups. Whoosh! As Xiao Chen laughed, he waved his hand, and 100 cups of thousand-year flame immediately flew towards Jiang Feng. Every cup of golden wine contained Xiao Chen's strong saber intent. As the 100 cups flew out, they were like hundreds of strands of sharp saber qi. Jiang Feng's face sank. He did not dare to underestimate Xiao Chen. His figure flashed, and his hands moved rapidly. He received cup after cup and placed them in his mouth, directly drinking them. However, after drinking 30 cups, he stumbled and felt dizzy. The strong after-effects of the thousand-year flame made him feel tipsy. Pu ci. Pu ci. After drinking another 10-odd cups, Jiang Feng could no longer hold on. The movements of his hands slowed somewhat, and the cups of thousand-year flame struck him. His entire body was covered in wounds as he went flying. Only now did the crowd realize how strong the after-effects of peak-quality wine was. How strong was Xiao Chen, who could still stand stably after drinking 100 cups. I'll drink with you. I, Lu Yun, will drink with you. However, Xiao Chen stirred up everyone's hot-bloodedness. With Jiang Feng taking the lead, they all stepped forward one after another. All of a sudden, the originally empty second floor was in chaos. All the outstanding talents of the Black Sea got drunk. The thousand-year flame was a peak-quality wine. Normally, drinking one cup would make one dizzy. After drinking dozens of cups, it was impossible not to get drunk. Amid the chaos, some people's eyes turned bloodshot. Feeling angry in their hearts, they drew their weapons and charged at Xiao Chen. The first to attack was Lu Yang, who was being bullied the most miserably. He drew his saber, and his figure flashed as he executed a killing move. Xiao Chen laughed loudly and gently drifted over. He picked up a cup of thousand-year flame and drained it in one go before dodging. Then, his figure moved swiftly and executed Thunder Dragon steps. He took 7 steps and ferociously chopped down the Thunder Dragon chop together with the Lunar Shadow Saber. Bang! Lu Yang, who blocked with his saber, got knocked back by Xiao Chen, crashing into the wall of the restaurant in a sorry state. Xiao Chen held his saber horizontally as he stood on the table. Then, he staggered and drank another cup. Smiling in disdain, he said, You are only so-so, and you still want to sneak attack me? Attack together. When the group of drunk people saw Xiao Chen standing on the table, their blood surged. They could no longer resist charging over. Good timing. Half drunk and half awake, Xiao Chen felt free and unfettered. There was a kind of unbridled feeling that he had never felt before flowing through his veins. After the effects of the alcohol, this unbridled feeling was amplified 100-fold. Xiao Chen laughed loudly 3 times and brandished his lunar shadow saber, charging over. Saber lights and sword images appeared, and mysterious phenomena appeared. The intense battle turned chaotic. Xiao Chen weaved his way through the crowd, drifting away. Such a chaotic battle caused the eyes of the cultivators peeking outside the building to widen. A proper gathering actually turned into such a state. No one had expected it. What was even more unexpected was that the drunk Xiao Chen let go of all his limbs. Even when fighting against so many outstanding talents alone, he did not seem to be at a disadvantage. Xiao Chen's strong 60% comprehended saber soul even gave him the upper hand in the situation. The thousands of cups of thousand-year flame in the air had already scattered. The wine cups contained Xiao Chen's saber intent. They did not shatter in this chaotic battle. Instead, they moved about as the battle went on. Xiao Chen went completely berserk, releasing all the pressure. Occasionally, he drank a cup of thousand-year flame to fight the outstanding talents. 4 hours later, aside from the sturdy main body of the restaurant, the tables, shelves, screens, and all sorts of decorations had all shattered. The floor was a mess. The outstanding talents fell to the ground, unable to get up. It was unknown whether they were completely drunk or knocked out by Xiao Chen. As he swayed, Xiao Chen's white robes were dyed red with blood. Much of it was his blood, but most of it was the blood of the great bandits' descendants. As Xiao Chen stood at the table, he drank the last cup of thousand-year flame. Then, he looked around with his drunken eyes and discovered that no one was still standing. So he could not help laughing loudly again. However, this laughter contained some desolation, a loneliness that others would find hard to understand. The winds and clouds of the world come from my generation. Once I enter the world, time flies. The peak of the Emperor's Road is filled with boundless glory. Xiao Chen laughed loudly and fell over. The empty wine cup in his hand fell to the ground with a clatter, shattering into pieces. When Ba Yan, who had been hiding at the side when the chaotic battle started, saw this scene, he quickly rushed over. When he saw the mess, he smiled bitterly and said, "I really should not have brought him here. The host of this gathering should be crying now." Even now, Ba Yan had not seen the host of the gathering. This was to his liking. It was best if he did not see him. Ba Yan carried Xiao Chen on his back and prepared to leave this troublesome place. He accidentally chopped down all the outstanding talents. This matter had blown out of proportion. Chapter 1177. Whoosh! Just as Ba Yan carried Xiao Chen on his back and prepared to leave, 2 figures flashed out of the messy second floor. If Xiao Chen were still here, he would definitely recognize these 2 people. They were the 2 figures he saw at the city gates that day. One of them was Xiao Feng, the descendant of the Divine Eye Sovereign, who was ranked second among the 13 great bandits of the Black Sea. The other person was Sima Lingxian, the most famous and dazzling outstanding young talent in the Black Sea. This was especially so after Sima Lingxuan's adoptive father, Zong Buxiong, advanced to sovereign martial emperor. Sima Lingxuan's status soared, no one able to compete with him. These 2 were the organizers of this gathering. They had arrived long ago for the sake of waiting for a certain person. However, they did not show themselves. Who would have thought that the gathering would turn out like this? It was truly unexpected. The person they were waiting for did not show up. Instead, such a person showed up, brandishing a saber and beating up the crowd. "Indeed, it is you," Sima Lingxian said through clenched teeth as he looked in the direction Xiao Chen and Ba Yan had left in. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. When Sima Lingxian heard the name of the white-robed bladesman in the city, he had suspected that it was that Xiao Chen. Now that he saw it for himself, he confirmed his guess. Unexpectedly, after not seeing him for 10 years, Xiao Chen was still so strong. Compared to the Sky Dome Realm's 5-nation youth competition, he was still as elegant as before, inspiring an unparalleled feeling. If news of this scene spread, the name of the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chen would resound throughout the entire Dark City, surpassing Sima Lingxian once again. It would be just like the 5-nation youth competition back then, when Xiao Chen suddenly rose up and completely overshadowed Sima Lingxuan's glory. "You are coming to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting as well? Very good. I have waited for this day for a long time." A resolute expression flashed in Sima Lingxuan's eyes as he thought to himself. Only then did he slowly calm down. Xiao Feng, who was at the side, did not notice Sima Lingxuan's strange expression. He looked at the many great bandits lying on the ground, snoring loudly. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Those present were all famous geniuses of the Dark City. To think that an outsider would cause them to be in such a sorry state. Of course, part of the reason was that the strength of these geniuses had greatly decreased after drinking the wine. However, Xiao Chen's strength was undeniable. It could only be described with one word: powerful. At least, Zhao Feng thought that if he met Xiao Chen, his chances of winning wouldn't exceed 50%. However, he was still confident that if he ran into Xiao Chen at the Geniuses Summit, he would still be the one to emerge victorious. It's a pity that Huang Yun still hasn't shown up. That guy has been gone for 3 years. I bet he's already forgotten about the Geniuses Summit meeting. Zhao Feng quietly said. That's right, the purpose of this summit was to force Huang Yun out. Even though the descendant of the top pirate of the Black Sea, the Blood Shark Sovereign, had been gone for 3 years, he still remained a burden in Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxuan's hearts. Sima Lingxian said calmly, "It is indeed unfortunate. However, the unfortunate person is you, Zhao Feng." What do you mean? Sima Lingxian revealed a mocking expression as he said indifferently, "Ha. Unfortunately, your strength has not improved at all. You will still lose to me this time. Did you not notice that that person is already here?" Zhao Feng's expression changed, and the light in his eyes began to rapidly change. An azure whirlpool of light began to spin in the depths of his eyes. A blurry scarlet figure appeared in Zhao Feng's vision. The scarlet figure flickered and quickly vanished from his vision, quickly changing directions. Whoosh! A figure appeared on the second floor of the Conflagration restaurant. This figure wore yellow robes and carried a scarlet saber on his back. His eyes were slightly red. This was the Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun. He's back. Some of the martial practitioners who were watching from a high vantage point revealed horrified expressions when they saw the yellow figure, appearing to be extremely panic-stricken. The Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun. 3 years ago, Huang Yun was the absolute overlord of the younger generation of Dark City. After he left, Sima Lingxian and Zhao Feng slowly rose to fame. This was especially so for Sima Lingxian. He rose very quickly, already showing signs of surpassing Huang Yun. Now that Huang Yun returning before the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, there would definitely be a fierce battle at this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. First, there was the strong appearance of the white-robed bladesman, beating up the outstanding talents in a drunken state. Then, there were the cultivators from the outer sea, stirring up trouble and eyeing covetously. Then, there were the veteran overlords returning to Dark City. It would be difficult not to look forward to this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. After not coming for 3 years, the great bandits of Dark City seemed to have weakened again. Huang Yun glanced at the drunk outstanding talent lying on the ground and frowned slightly. He did not hide his disdain at all. Huang Yun raised his head and looked between Zhao Feng and Sima Lingxian. Finally, he fixed his gaze on Sima Lingxuan's face. "The two of you are pretty good. 3 years ago, I predicted that you would rise up. However, I did not expect you to rise up so quickly. However, you have a demon in your heart. If you do not get rid of it, you will find it hard to advance. You are not worthy of being my opponent." Sima Lingxuan's heart sank. 3 years had passed, but this Huang Yun was still as strong as before. He could see through Sima Lingxuan's weakness with one glance. Sima Lingxuan's demon was Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen had killed Sima Lingxuan's father and once trampled on him. If Sima Lingxian did not defeat Xiao Chen, he would find it hard to undergo a true transformation. However, a demon can be a shackle or a motivation. If you really think that, you will suffer a miserable defeat at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. A strong fighting spirit appeared in Sima Lingxuan's eyes. He did not fear this returning overlord. Huang Yun smiled faintly, still feeling confident. "You are not a match for me. In that case, how about I be your opponent?" Just as Sima Lingxian was about to reply, a voice suddenly rang out on the second floor. A figure with a strong aura charged over, knocking away many cultivators peeking around before landing heavily on the ground. This person's eyes appeared somewhat chaotic, and his skin seemed like metal, flickering with a faint luster. Clearly, he was not of the human race or the fiend race bloodline, looking extremely strange. This was a mixed blood of humans and demons, possessing the bloodlines of both humans and high-ranked iron demons. It's him, Mo Ran. He is one of the cultivators from the Outer Sea who caused the most trouble in Dark City recently. Since he is here, then the Ice Sea's Lang Xian and the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng will definitely be here as well. This is the true gathering. This is just the beginning. The moment this person appeared, many cultivators immediately recognized him. He was the Human Demon Sea's young expert, Mo Ran. Whoosh! Whoosh! A strong wind blew, and two men appeared on the second floor one after another. One of them was tall and exuded a strong aura. This was the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng. The other had a frosty expression, looking cold and emotionless. This was the Ice Sea's Lang Xian. The true gathering of outstanding talents had just begun. These words were not wrong at all. The 5 people here represented the strongest outstanding talents in Dark City. Including Xiao Chen and Ba Yan, who left, the strongest outstanding talents were all here. Huang Yun revealed a cruel smile and said, Dark City's Outstanding Talent Summit meeting has never benefited outsiders before. With me, Huang Yun, around, you will not be able to break this record. Is that so? Let's see how capable you are. The Human Demon Sea's Mo Ran smiled coldly as he charged over. Mo Ran's body flickered with light, looking like he had a body of steel. He was heavy and sturdy, and every step he took produced loud bangs. Mo Ran was like a running mountain. His aura was startling and unparalleled berserk as he punched. Huang Yun narrowed his eyes, and his slightly red eyes turned completely scarlet. He did not draw his saber but also sent a punch. Bang! The two fists clashed, producing a loud, ear-splitting sound. The two each took 10 steps back, and the entire conflagration restaurant shook continuously. Huang Yun, who carried the scarlet saber on his back, said coldly, You are merely a so-so. With just this bit of ability, you cannot force me to draw my saber. The expressions of the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng and the Ice Sea's Lang Xian changed slightly. Huang Yun was indeed somewhat scarily strong. As a bladesman, Huang Yun actually used his fist to receive Mo Ran's move. If Huang Yun had used his saber, the result would have been different. You had best not come to the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting half a month from now. Otherwise, if you lose too miserably, don't blame me for not showing mercy. The boundlessly tyrannical Huang Yun left behind these words. Then, a scarlet light flashed as he left the conflagration restaurant. How arrogant! Do you think that this is all my trump card? Mo Ran was not convinced at all. He pushed off the ground and charged forward fearlessly again. Now, only 4 people remained. Sima Lingxian glanced at the other 2 foreign cultivators. A fierce fighting spirit blazed in his eyes as he said, Since you are already here, it would be a pity if you only exchange 1 or 2 moves. That is precisely the case, the Storm Sea's Ouyang Feng and the Ice Sea's Lang Xian said at the same time. A series of probing exchanges quickly took place in the restaurant. Everyone wanted to test each other out. However, no one would expose their trump cards. Everything would only erupt at the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. At this moment, Xiao Chen was completely drunk and unconscious. He did not know anything about what happened after that. He did not know that a few strong people had arrived after him. This time, he was completely drunk. In the rock castle, Ba Yan carried Xiao Chen all the way to his courtyard. The sound startled Yu Bingyun, who was busy repairing the dragon-subduing platform. When Yu Bingyun saw the unconscious, blood-soaked Xiao Chen covered in wounds, her expression changed visibly. Her face turned cold, and a dense murderous intent flashed in her eyes. The appearance of that murderous intent startled Ba Yan. He found it hard to imagine that the pure and holy Yu Bingyun would have such a horrifying side. What's wrong with him? Who injured him? Ba Yan quickly explained what happened in the conflagration restaurant in detail, dispelling Yu Bingyun's doubts. He drank 100 cups of peak-grade wine in a row. Yu Bingyun's murderous intent vanished, and she showed some shock on her face. For a wine to be called peak-grade wine, it would have a strong after-effect. Even the blue-robed emperor could not drink too much. Drinking 100 cups like Xiao Chen was simply unheard of. Even Emperor Wu did not dare to do so. After that, Xiao Chen's actions were even crazier. He beat up the outstanding talents while drunk, fighting alone against so many outstanding talents. He was truly drunk. If it were the rational Xiao Chen, he would not have done such a crazy thing. That is what happened. Don't blame me for not helping out at that time. It was so chaotic. I was afraid that it would become even more chaotic after I went in. I'll leave it to you. Chapter 1178. After Ba Yan tossed Xiao Chen onto Yu Bingyun, he finally felt some relief. This Xiao Chen brother looked refined and refined. Unexpectedly, he went crazy. Even a battle maniac like him, who everyone feared, felt ashamed of his inferiority. Yu Bingyun felt slightly stunned. She wanted to call out to Ba Yan, but he had already gone far away. Then, she saw Xiao Chen stumbling, looking like he would fall over. She panicked and quickly rushed forward to catch him. Yu Bingyun looked at the sleeping Xiao Chen on her shoulder for a long time. Then, she smiled bitterly. That's good. This fellow probably has not had a good sleep for a long time already. Since you carried me once, I'll carry you once as well. This place was still a long distance from Xiao Chen's bedroom. Yu Bingyun would not be able to bring herself to carry Xiao Chen over. Yu Bingyun said somewhat mischievously. Then, she copied Ba Yan and carried Xiao Chen to the bedroom. He is really heavy. After placing Xiao Chen on the bed, Yu Bingyun gently breathed out. Then, she looked at the bloodstains on Xiao Chen's face that had not been cleaned off. For some reason, Yu Bingyun recalled the time in the Blood Sword Sovereign's cave. Every time the Blood Sword Sovereign tried to stand up, he would vomit blood all over his face. Unknowingly, Yu Bingyun's hand moved down and touched Xiao Chen's face. However, she withdrew her hand immediately, like she recalled something. Then, she shook her head and brought over a basin of water to wipe Xiao Chen's face clean. Then, she called a maidservant over to help Xiao Chen change his clothes and clean his wounds. After everything was done, Yu Bingyun returned to the bedroom. She saw that Xiao Chen's eyes were still closed, showing no signs of waking up. Xiao Chen had truly fallen into a deep sleep. If it were in the past, even the slightest movement would startle Xiao Chen awake. However, this time, due to the after-effects of drinking 100 cups of peak-quality wine, even after someone changed Xiao Chen's clothes, he still did not react. Xiao Chen could only be said to be drunk. After sighing, Yu Bingyun picked up Xiao Chen's blood-stained white robes. Then, she quietly closed the door and turned to leave. Xiao Chen had a dream. The dream was hazy but real. He dreamed of Seven-Horn Mountain, of his father who chased him out of the clan, of Heavenly Saber Pavilion, of Lu Riyue, of Bai, of Feng Feishue. He dreamed of many, many people. He happily chatted with these people and felt extremely relaxed. But in the end, he saw that those people were running as fast as they could behind him, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not catch up to him. He wanted to turn around, but an invisible force prevented him from doing so. The road ahead was a bridge, and on the opposite side of the bridge stood a door. On the door stood a blurry figure. However, Xiao Chen knew who that was. That was the Qing Emperor, the Qing Emperor of the Dragon's Gate. He was an unparalleled and tyrannical existence who swept through the world, an invincible existence. Even though Xiao Chen had been dead for 10,000 years, he could still hear his name no matter where he went. Only he could trample on that emperor's gate. Xiao Chen had too many questions in his heart. He wanted to ask Xiao Chen why he came to this world. Why did Xiao Chen become enemies with the world, causing the Xiao clan's descendants to fall into such dire straits? Why did he leave such a huge mess for Xiao Chen? Pa! Suddenly, the bridge broke. As Xiao Chen ran over, filled with anticipation, it suddenly broke, and he fell into a bottomless abyss. The rapid fall, the suffocating fear, and the indescribable loneliness made him cry out loudly. Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes and sat up on the wooden bed in his bedroom. He looked around before reacting somewhat slowly. So, it was just a dream. My head hurts. After a while, Xiao Chen's head ached. His tongue tasted bitter, dry, and tasteless. He felt dizzy and very uncomfortable. The side effects of drinking too much and sleeping too much forced Xiao Chen to lean back on the bed. Xiao Chen rubbed his temples with both hands as he circulated his energy to eliminate his fatigue. Soon, all sorts of discomfort vanished from Xiao Chen's body. Replacing it was a sense of relaxation that he had never experienced before. His body relaxed, but his heart felt strangely empty. Xiao Chen tossed aside the blanket and got off the bed. However, he stumbled and fell to the ground. How long have I been asleep? My body is not listening to me at all. Xiao Chen was somewhat at a loss. Then, he tried calling out to Ao Jiao. However, he discovered that there was no response. Strangely, Little Yellow Feather and Ao Jiao were not in the immortal spirit ring. However, the connection between the item spirit and its master was still there. He was sure that nothing had happened to Ao Jiao, so Xiao Chen felt much more at ease. Xiao Chen got up and paced around the room. Then, he stretched his limbs and let his law energy flow through his meridians, activating his qi and blood. As Xiao Chen's qi and blood stirred, his entire mind became empty. He entered a state of clarity that he had never experienced before. It was incredibly profound. This startled Xiao Chen. He knew that he had entered a state that all cultivators dreamed of, one with heaven. This state of one with heaven would not last for long. Xiao Chen had experienced it once when he broke through in the lower realm. So, he quickly sat down cross-legged. Without any other choice, Xiao Chen used all this precious time on comprehending Instant of Glory. Instant of Glory was currently Xiao Chen's strongest martial technique. It was a martial technique that allowed him to execute everything he learned. It was already comparable to a medial-grade profound martial technique. Furthermore, its might was far from what a regular medial-grade profound martial technique could compare to. Currently, this move only had a rough outline. Xiao Chen had only scratched the surface, not even reaching small perfection. He absolutely could not miss out on this opportunity to comprehend one with heaven. The blazing sun, snowflakes, blue dragon, broken leaves, and all sorts of mysterious phenomena flew out of Xiao Chen's body, forming a profound picture. As Xiao Chen comprehended, more and more mysterious phenomena of martial techniques came out of his body. Four Season Saber Technique, Myriad Heaven Divine Fist, Subduing Dragon Profound Slash, Thunder Dragon Chop, Thunder Dragon Steps, Flawless Bright Moon, Thousand-Year Flame, Thousand-Year Death. There were close to 100 martial techniques of various sizes. As time went by, Xiao Chen's understanding of Instant of Glory deepened. The directions this move could extend to were practically boundless. Eventually, it reached two paths, time and space. When the wondrous state vanished, Xiao Chen's comprehension came to a sudden stop. Although he had not managed to make a qualitative leap in Instant of Glory in such a short period of time, Xiao Chen managed to see the future path of this move. The state of time and space are too profound. It is not good to bite off more than one can chew now. However, I have gained a lot from this comprehension. With a thought, the instant Xiao Chen stood up, the many mysterious phenomena in the room stopped. Several mysterious phenomena disappeared, leaving only the bright moon, the night sky, and the winter snow, forming a picture of the cold moon and snow. Although the previous Instant of Glory was very soul-stirring and boundlessly grand, it was too chaotic in the end. There was no way to control it. Every time it was executed, it would exhaust a vast amount of law energy. Actually, there was no need for several mysterious phenomena to appear. It was not that the more mysterious phenomena one had, the more glorious they would be. Sometimes, to show glory, all one needed was a simple patch of yellow sand. Xiao Chen waved his hand, and the cold moon acupoint picture disappeared. Then, he said indifferently, in the past, the instant of glory was just wandering outside the door. This time, I have finally entered the room. I will not go astray. With a direction and the right path, there was no need to fear the long road or the rugged roads. One would eventually climb to the peak of instant of glory. Collecting his thoughts, Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes and looked at the neatly folded white robes on the table. Only then did he realize that he was only wearing simple sleeping robes. There was also a letter on the clear wind robes, signed by Yu Bingyun. Yu Bingyun left a letter. Did she leave already? If not, there would be no need to leave a message like this. How long have I been asleep? Xiao Chen's heart was filled with questions. However, Ao Jiao and Little Yellow Feather were not around at this time. Feeling a little empty, Xiao Chen opened the envelope. The elegant handwriting made one feel a sense of lightness. The contents of the letter were not long, only 200 or 300 words. However, the contents of the letter deeply touched Xiao Chen. I wonder how much longer you are going to sleep for. It has already been 10 days, and you still have not woken up. I can only leave without saying goodbye. Actually, my destination is not the human demon sea. I want to go to the ice sea and the storm sea. I want to help the lunar palace find 2 things to refine a new transcendent divine weapon. In the Blood Sword Sovereign's cave abode on Blackwater Island, there was a moment when I really thought I was going to die. I even gave up resisting. Maybe you don't know it yourself, but on the verge of death, your voice was like a ray of light that shone into hell. I shed my first tear. You and I are very similar. We both carry a great deal of pressure on our shoulders. Compared to you, what I've endured is really nothing. You're much more tired than me. It's rare to get drunk in life, but you have to wake up after that. Don't give up hope, don't indulge your arrogance. The world is unpredictable. There will always be a chance of survival. Let's not give up. I will wait for you to become a martial emperor. If one day, you need to undergo the tribulation of wind and fire, I will definitely come and help you. Take care. We will meet again if we are fated. XXX Yu Bingyun, stay. XXX was a blob of smeared handwriting. Xiao Chen couldn't see it clearly, but that wasn't the point. The main point was the concern in Yu Bingyun's words. It made one feel an inexplicable warmth in his heart. Unexpectedly, this mysterious girl had such a warm side. According to the contents of the letter, Xiao Chen had slept for at least 10 days. That was a long nap. Xiao Chen put away the letter, feeling somewhat disappointed and frustrated. Yu Bingyun's departure and the various scenes in his dream. Now that he thought about it, he could not calm down. He kept feeling somewhat empty, like he had lost or forgotten something. Looking at the clear wind robes on the table, Xiao Chen held them in his hands. He could not help but recall the first time Lu Ryu addressed him. After putting on the clear wind robes, Xiao Chen pushed open the door and went out. He discovered that the entire rock castle was deserted. Aside from the guards of some important places, most of them had left. Xiao Chen strolled around the courtyard, heading for the dragon subduing platform. Before he went to the conflagration restaurant, the dragon subduing platform had nearly been repaired. Since Yu Bingyun had already left, she should have already dealt with the final matters. When Xiao Chen arrived at the backyard, he was somewhat surprised to discover an old man in sackcloth robes. This old man had an ordinary air and an extremely thick beard, looking around excitedly on the dragon subduing platform. Who are you? Xiao Chen asked somewhat warily. This old man's appearance was very strange. Earlier, when Xiao Chen sent out his spiritual sense, he did not sense anyone else in the courtyard. The hemp-robed old man turned his head and smiled. You're awake. Don't be nervous. This is my home. If I wanted to take away your dragon subduing platform, I would have plenty of opportunities to do so while you were asleep. Chapter 1179. Xiao Chen looked carefully. Although he could not make out this person's cultivation, he could still sense the aura of rock and flame. This person should be an older generation Emperor Wu with a high cultivation in the Rock Castle. He was more knowledgeable and recognized the complete dragon subduing platform. Since that was the case, Xiaochen stopped thinking about it. When the hemp-robed old man saw Xiaochen, he looked like he had lost something, so he asked with a smile, "Young man, what's wrong? You seem to be out of it after sobering up." Xiaochen was not willing to elaborate. He asked, "Does senior know how long I slept for?" "Not that long, just about half a month. Unfortunately, I missed the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. It started today." Outstanding Talent Summit meeting? No wonder the people in the castle were not around. They must have gone to the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting to support the Flame Rock Castle's Ba Yan. Strange, why are you not reacting at all? Isn't it a pity to miss the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting? The hemp-robed old man asked. As Xiaochen walked around the dragon subduing platform, he discovered that Yu Bingyun had indeed finished repairing it. All he needed to do was leave a spiritual mark, and he would be able to use it. After hearing the old man's words, Xiaochen answered, "Naturally, it is a pity. However, it is already too late. Even if it is a pity, it is useless. I will take this dragon subduing platform and leave." "You are rather indifferent. I heard that you can drink a lot. Are you interested in having a drink or two with me?" The hemp-robed old man took out a bottle of wine. He did not put on any airs as he invited Xiaochen with a smile. Xiaochen did not know what Ao Jiao was doing. She had not returned yet, so he could not leave for now. There was no harm in drinking a few cups. After receiving the wine cups, the two, one old and one young, casually sat on the steps and clinked their cups. After a few cups, Xiaochen's mood slowly improved, and he spoke more with the old man. Their topics ranged from martial techniques to wine tasting, to geomancy, to ancient secrets. They talked about everything. The hemp-robed old man's horizon startled Xiaochen slightly. As the old man spoke, he inadvertently revealed many things that Xiaochen had not heard of. There were also some insights on the martial way that were even more direct, pointing out the flaws in the martial way. Xiaochen did not seem like an ordinary martial emperor at all. Even if he were a martial emperor, his knowledge would not be as broad as Xiaochen's. If he had not been there personally, he would not have been able to explain the secrets of several forbidden lands so clearly. He even knew the great forbidden lands like the back of his hand. For example, the hemp-robed old man knew the Mirage Immortal Palace, which Xiaochen was very interested in. The timing of this Mirage Immortal Palace's appearance is uncertain. Its location is also unknown. Even in the Forbidden Lands, it is considered rather mysterious. Unless it appears on its own, there is no way of knowing where it is. The hemp-robed old man took a sip of wine and continued, "Unlike the heart of the ocean, where one can enter the immortal graveyard and the distant sea dragon grave at any time. There are many good things in there. However, there is danger at every step. If one is not careful, even a sovereign martial emperor might fall in there. Not just anyone dares to enter." Xiaochen felt curious. He asked, "What are the secrets behind the 8 great forbidden lands? After so many years, has no one figured them out?" When the hemp-robed old man heard this, he could not help smiling. It is not that no one has figured them out. It is just that no one dares to be sure. For example, this Mirage Immortal Palace. If I were to guess, it would be the temporary residence of a powerhouse from the ancient era. It is very possible that this powerhouse eventually advanced to martial god and left this abandoned land of ours. Xiaochen's expression changed. Is there really a martial god? Martial god is just a title. I am not sure if there is one or not. However, there are definitely existences higher than prime. Every sovereign martial emperor is very clear on this. It is just that we sadly live in this abandoned land. Every powerhouse of the martial way that left erased all traces of their existence. At this point, the hemp-robed old man revealed a clear trace of sadness and sorrow in his eyes. This trace of sadness and sorrow was something Shao Chen had seen in the Haotian martial emperor's eyes before. It was very similar, both expressing a kind of helpless rage. You definitely do not want to reach my level in the future and face the same sadness and helplessness, right? The hemp-robed old man suddenly asked seriously. Shao Chen did not understand. Then, the hemp-robed old man pulled him up and tossed him a medallion. So, muster up your fighting spirit. Don't look so dejected. Don't give up on the path that you have been persevering on. Wine is not used to numb your fighting spirit. It is used to ignite it. You still have to participate in the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. Pa! The hemp-robed old man smashed the wine cup in his hand. Then, an irresistible tyrannical aura appeared from his body, making breathing difficult. The hemp-robed old man picked up Shao Chen and tossed him into the air. A spatial tear opened. Just as Shao Chen was about to resist, the power of space sucked him in. Then, the spatial tear quickly closed. Flame Rock Sovereign, you old fellow. Where did you toss my Shao Chen to? Ao Jiao, who rushed back from outside, happened to see this scene. Her expression changed drastically as she exclaimed. When the hemp-robed old man saw Ao Jiao, his insufferably tyrannical aura immediately vanished. He smiled with narrowed eyes and said, Big sister Ao, don't be angry. I just tossed him to where he belongs. Don't call me big sister, you old man. The sound of a fist rang out. The livid Ao Jiao sent the hemp-robed old man flying with a punch. Dark City's Outstanding Talent Summit meeting was held once every 5 years. Every time it was held, it would be incredibly grand. This was especially so for this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting. There was the strong return of the Blood Shark Sovereign's descendant, Huang Yun, the rising popularity of the new expert, Sima Lingxian, and the sudden emergence of the 3 great experts of the Outer Star Sea. The intense battles were confusing, with climaxes rising one after another. Until the end, the victor would remain a mystery. This was because the peak experts of this Outstanding Talent Summit meeting were too close in strength. No one could make a judgment beforehand. Everyone thought that with Huang Yun's strong return, he would continue his dominance from back then, sweeping through everyone and becoming the champion in one go. Who could have imagined that Sima Lingxuan's rise would surpass everyone's expectations? Since the start of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, he had never been defeated. His momentum flourished, and his popularity soared. The human demon sees Mo Ran, the ice sees Leng Xian, and the storm sees Ouyang Feng also made everyone's eyes light up. They defeated Lu Yun, Zhao Feng, and the other popular outstanding youths of Dark City one after another. The only thing that the crowd found unfortunate was that the famous white-robed bladesman, who had beaten up the crowd in a drunken manner, did not come to participate. According to the rules of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, if a cultivator with the Outstanding Talent token did not participate, it would be equivalent to forfeiting. Given this, everyone was disappointed. This was especially so for the cultivators who had seen Shao Chen compete in drinking with the crowd at the Conflagration restaurant. They all felt very disappointed. These people had rushed over to watch Shao Chen compete, wanting to witness the white-robed bladesman's glory again. Who could have imagined that the white-robed bladesman would actually forfeit? If not for the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting being very eye-catching, he would have left long ago. Round after round of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting continued. Soon, the strongest 4 appeared. Huang Yun expended a lot of effort to defeat Ba Yan, obtaining a spot in the top 4. Next was Sima Lingxian. He defeated the popular Lu Yun, who also used the sword. The 3rd spot went to the human demon sees Mo Ran. His opponent was Zhao Feng. This was a very dangerous match. After Mo Ran completely demonized, he nearly lost. This was because Zhao Feng had learned a medial-grade profound martial technique. If Mo Ran had not grasped it well, he might have been the one to lose. This was a very dangerous match. The 4th spot went to the 2 young experts of the Storm Sea and the Ice Sea. This internal conflict was probably because the organizers did not want the experts of the outer seas to obtain too many spots in the top 4, so they made them fight amongst themselves. Leng Xian's and Ouyang Feng's battle was exceptionally marvelous. It allowed the tens of thousands of spectators to experience the different performances of the Will of Ice and the Will of Storm, broadening their horizons. Ba Yan, who had already lost his right to continue fighting, watched very seriously, nodding his head repeatedly. Ba Yan glanced over and saw Huang Yun, who was resting with his eyes closed. Huang Yun seemed to sense Ba Yan's gaze, so he opened his eyes and smiled in disdain. This immediately enraged Ba Yan. If not for the rules, he would have gone up to fight again. Damn! Damn it! If not for the dragon scale armor I obtained outside, this old man would not have lost to you so easily, Ba Yan said, unconvinced. Ba Tu, who was at the side, also said depressedly, Brother Shao Qin did not come. If he had come, he might have been able to help you vent your frustrations. It is really unfortunate that this fellow did not come. With his strength, he would not have any problems getting into the top 3. He would definitely obtain a medial grade profound martial technique, Ba Yan said with a nod. Ba Yan nodded. Even now, he still could not see through Shao Chen's strength. After all, Shao Chen had gotten drunk that day. Many outstanding talents had gotten drunk as well. Under such unusual circumstances, it was very difficult to judge a person's strength. However, Ba Yan was confident that Shao Chen would not have any problems getting into the top 3. It might even be possible for Shao Chen to defeat this insufferably arrogant Huang Yun. The crucial thing was that this fellow had gotten drunk and slept for half a month. No matter how Ba Yan called out to him, he would not wake up. When Ba Lingxian thought about it, he found it both funny and infuriating. Sima Lingxian, who obtained a spot in the top 4, also felt it was unfortunate that Shao Chen did not come. Trampling on Shao Chen in public had always been Sima Lingxian's dream. How could he be satisfied with missing out on such a great opportunity? Hu Qi. A cold light flashed in the storm. Then, a sword light forced Ouyang Feng out of the arena. Finally, the final top 4 was decided. The Ice Sea's Leng Xian was more skilled, defeating Ouyang Feng. After the top 4 were determined, they all recovered and drew lots to determine their opponents. Then, they returned to the arenas. The arenas of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting would merge with each other after every round. After several rounds of battles, there were only 2 arenas left. When the final battle came, they would merge again, leaving only 1 arena. This Outstanding Talent Summit meeting slowly entered its climax. After the top 4, it would start with the most anticipated fight for the championship. Just as Sima Lingxian and the other 3 finished drawing their lots and walked up to the arenas, they bowed and prepared to fight. Something strange happened. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the sky above the arena. This crack passed through several spatial formations and forced its way in. This sudden scene caused everyone to turn their gazes to the crack in the sky. They had no idea what was going on. Just as the experts in charge of the city lord's residence were preparing to make a move, they received a piece of news. Their expressions changed for some reason, finding this inconceivable. Chapter 1180. Ka 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 ka. The 2 arenas started to merge without any warning. Before everyone's eyes, they formed a vast arena that slowly rose up, looking like a huge dragon rising up, giving off an extraordinary aura. What's going on? Why did the arenas suddenly merge? The semi-finals have not started yet. This is strange. The experts of the city lord's residence did not attack the person in the spatial tear. Who exactly is it? Why is his entrance so tyrannical? The sudden change completely disrupted the rhythm. Such a phenomenon had never happened in the Outstanding Talent Summits that had been passed down for hundreds of years. At the same time, everyone started guessing who the person who opened the spatial tear was. Ba Yan frowned slightly. He thought of a possibility but could not be sure. The 4 people in the arena were also at a loss. They did not know what was going on. When the spatial tear completely opened, the figure inside finally appeared. A white figure drifted out of the spatial tear, appearing somewhat suspicious. The white-robed bladesman. The moment Xiao Chen appeared, everyone immediately recognized him, causing countless cries of surprise. It really is the white-robed bladesman. Unexpectedly, he appeared in such a manner. However, he has already been deemed to have forfeited. Even if he found an expert and barged in, it would be useless. No matter what, Xiao Chen's arrival caused a huge commotion. This was especially so for the cultivators who came specially for him. They were all very excited, exchanging words non-stop. The 4 people in the arenas all showed different expressions. Some were shocked, some were pleasantly surprised, some were unperturbed, and some were disdainful. The one who felt shocked was the human demon Mo Ran. Naturally, the one who felt pleasantly surprised was Sima Lingxian. Huang Yun was as arrogant as ever, not caring about Xiao Chen at all. Leng Xian's expression was like a block of ice that would not melt for 10,000 years. There was no change in his expression at all. The one who came is the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen. In the direction of the platform, an old man with blazing eyes shouted at Xiao Chen, who was on the platform. Xiao Chen, who had been tossed over from the Flame Rock Castle, was still somewhat dizzy and could not react immediately. Hence, the old man had to ask again. The one who came is the Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen. Hand over your outstanding talent token and verify your identity. Xiao Chen had already guessed where he was based on the scene and the 4 people in the arenas. When he heard the question again, he nodded and admitted his identity, then handed over the outstanding talent token. Very good. Your identity is verified. Hand over the forceful kill token that the Flame Rock Sovereign gave you. Forceful kill token. Is it this? Xiao Chen took out a medallion that the hemp-robed old man had tossed to him. He had not looked at it carefully. Now that he looked at it, there was indeed the word, kill, written on the front and, order, carved on the back. When the tens of thousands of spectators at the scene heard the 3 words, forceful kill order, their expressions changed at the same time, and they sucked in a deep breath. It really is the forceful kill order. Grandpa actually gave him this chance. Ba Yan's expression turned grave. He said in some disbelief, if Xiao Chen fails, this old man will lose all your face. In the end, the city lord's residence, the organizer of the Outstanding Talent Summit meeting, was controlled by the 13 Great Bandits. The 13 Great Bandits provided all the prizes. Hence, every Great Bandit had some special privileges. The Forceful Kill token was one of them. As the name suggested, the Forceful Kill token allowed one to forcefully enter the Outstanding Talent Convention. It was given to the outstanding talents who could not make it in time for some reason or missed the deadline. Originally, according to the rules, once one gave up, one would not be able to participate. However, it was different with the Forceful Kill token. One could enter midway. However, there was a price for using the Forceful Kill token. After using the Forceful Kill token, one could only fight for the first rank. If one did not obtain the first rank, it would be considered a failure. Furthermore, one had to take turns challenging others. One had to defeat as many people as there were in the arena. After one defeated everyone, one could turn the tables and snatch the first rank. Not only would one obtain the glory of the first rank, but one would also obtain the rewards for the number of people one defeated. For example, there were currently 4 people in the arena. If Xiao Chen defeated all of them, he would obtain all the rewards for the top 4. However, if he lost to any one of them, the rewards for the other 4 would be doubled. The Great Bandit who gave Xiao Chen the Forceful Kill token would pay for it. To a Great Bandit, the rewards were not something that would hurt them. However, they would lose all their face. In history, no one had ever used the Forceful Kill token and succeeded in breaking through. Everyone ended up in failure. Even now, no one had seen the Forceful Kill token for several hundred years already. After Xiao Chen handed over the Forceful Charge medallion, he learned about its use from the discussions of the spectator stands. There were also some rules. For example, when there were fewer than 4 people, one would have to face the combined attacks of the others after using the Forceful Kill token. If the final champion was already decided, one could not use the forceful kill token. Xiao Chen appeared at the right time. There were still 4 people in the arena. However, the restrictions still existed. The other side was still taking turns challenging others, so there was no time to rest. Xiao Chen looked around at the 4 people in the arena. First, he looked at Huang Yun, the young outstanding talent with a scarlet saber on his back. He radiated pride from his entire body. After sizing up Xiao Chen, he no longer paid him any attention. Then, he looked at Leng Xian, the cold swordsman of the Ice Sea. From the start to the end, Xiao Chen could not make out his true expression. The human demon sees Mo Ran took the initiative. When he saw Xiao Chen's gaze, his lips curled up in a smile filled with murderous intent. Finally, Xiao Chen's gaze landed on the grave and stern Sima Lingxian. Xiao Chen felt very complicated about him. The hatred from back then had already faded away. The higher one stood, the further one could see. Both Xiao Chen's breadth of vision and breadth of mind had undergone a great change. Now, all Xiao Chen pursued was the great Tao. When Sima Lingxian looked at Xiao Chen, aside from hatred, there was also a fierce fighting spirit. It was like a flame was burning in his eyes. However, when Sima Lingxian saw Xiao Chen's indifferent expression, he felt like this fire was burning in a calm lake, unable to truly burn. The forceful charge token is correct. Blue Dragon King Xiao Chen, are you sure you want to use the forceful charge token? The old man in the city lord's residence asked from the platform after he checked the forceful charge token. Xiao Chen raised his head and looked in the direction of the platform. Without hesitation, he replied calmly, I'm sure. It was as Yu Bingyun said, it was rare for one to get drunk. However, after getting drunk, one would eventually have to wake up and face the situation. The words, I'm sure, immediately set the crowd abuzz. Everyone liked the unexpected to happen. It was just like how people hoped for a dark horse to appear in a big competition. Now that Xiao Chen appeared with the forceful charge token, it was an exciting surprise. Very well, you can choose your opponent freely. Let's begin. Huang Yun and the other 3 did not shrink back at all. As they looked at Xiao Chen, their fighting spirits surged. They did not fear that he would choose them as his first opponent. The others were also guessing who Xiao Chen would choose as his first opponent. It should be the human demon sees Mo Ran. Of the 4, he should be the weakest. It is hard to say. Mo Ran's defense is the strongest. If Xiao Chen chooses him, he will exhaust a large amount of law energy in the first match. It is not worth it. Then, it should be Sima Lingxian or Leng Xian. Coincidentally, these 2 are swordsmen. A bladesman would have an advantage against a swordsman. Everyone had their own opinions. However, no one thought that Xiao Chen would choose Huang Yun. After all, Huang Yun's strength was clear for all to see. I choose him. To everyone's surprise, Xiao Chen chose Huang Yun, locking his gaze on this person. According to the rules, the other 3 left the arena. Everyone was a little surprised by this result. Wasn't it a little too risky to choose the strongest Huang Yun for the first battle? Or perhaps this white-robed bladesman was extremely confident in his own strength and did not care who he chose or not. Everyone saw that when it came to choosing carefully, Xiao Chen did not even think before choosing Huang Yun. If that was the case, then Xiao Chen was too arrogant. You are courageous. Soon, you will regret your choice. Huang Yun was clearly enraged that Xiao Chen chose him in the first round. He suppressed his anger and said ruthlessly, that's right. The white-robed Xiao Chen appeared calm and collected. His expression did not change at all. He said indifferently, I am Xiao Chen. Please give me some pointers. In that case, please remember my name, Huang Yun. I am the bladesman who will make your reputation fall in Dark City. Fight! Huang Yun shouted ferociously and made the first move. His figure flashed, and he drew the scarlet saber on his back. When the saber light appeared, blood immediately dyed the sky red. The scene was extremely horrifying. A berserk-killing chi surged out from Huang Yun's body. Together with the saber light that dyed the sky red, this saber strike was incredibly strong. The first move he used was a profound martial technique. This Huang Yun is trying to end this quickly. Blood dyeing the world. This was the Blood Shark Sovereign's trump card before he became a sovereign personage. This Huang Yun already has some of the Blood Shark Sovereign's demeanor. The white-robed bladesman is in trouble. He should not have chosen Huang Yun. He probably will not be able to last even one match. The terrifying aura caused everyone to be shocked. Only now did they realize that Huang Yun had been holding back all this time. Even Ba Yan, who lost to Huang Yun in one move earlier, was flabbergasted. He clearly knew that the other party did not rely on the chaotic Ling treasure armor to defeat him. Xiao Qin pushed off the ground and executed Thunder Dragon steps. Then, he quickly retreated. His body moved like a dragon, flickering with electric light. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps. Soon, Xiao Qin was forced into a corner. The scarlet clouds in the sky seemed to occupy the entire sky above the arena. Huang Yun's horrifying saber light was like a ferocious, man-eating beast. It opened its maw wide, wanting to swallow up Xiao Qin. Retreat again. Xiao Qin, who had already taken 11 steps back, retreated to the edge of the arena. If he took another step back, his body would be in the air. If he fell to the ground, he would be out of the arena, automatically admitting defeat. Such a thrilling scene made everyone's heart beat faster. No one expected Huang Yun's true strength to be so ferocious. The moment he executed his killing move, he forced the white-robed bladesman to take 12 steps back and fly out of the arena. Ha 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 ha. You are only a so-so. Scram.